platform, like being an incumbent governor, incumbent senator, to kind of be able to balance a campaign with a professional office and still have profile. Well, obviously Donald Trump, because of his fandom and stardom, doesn't need that, and money doesn't need that. But it is still incredible. A lot of people, especially after 8 years, will be 8 years of someone who had never accomplished anything in his professional life, who had no background and limited even political experience, really, state senator and a very short-term U.S. senator.
And how many votes did he cast when he was U.S. senator?
Well, but right,
he was hardly even there because he was campaigning for president.
And so often, I mean, don't you? One of the two-party candidates, many of the candidates who aspire to the office, usually one of the features is experience, right? I'm going to be a steady hand on the till, and this time, experience to some extent, at least political experience, in-office experience, is seen as a bug, not a feature.
Right, it's detrimental to their candidacy. And I think about Donald Trump, and I said here, I think last week, I'm convinced now he's going to get the GOP nomination. I still feel that way, and I think because it's a popularity contest. When did the presidential race become a popularity contest?
Well,
who could influence the most with just their charm and their charisma as opposed to their record? There's always been
a component of that. I mean, that was what President Obama won.
Right.
He won a popularity contest.
If President Obama was 300 pounds and, looked a little bit different, that he would not be president.
Or had improper syntax. I mean, forget what the substance of what he's saying. It was how he was saying it and the kind of the broad generic appeal and people imputing their desires onto him, even if he wasn't really a representative of them. We see that happening again with Trump. The incredible thing to me is, after the Obama experience and the cult of personality behind Obama, that you would have so many Republican primary voters essentially adopt the same posture. They play cult of personality politics. Now, in response to that devastation, that tragic mistake, we're going to play cult of personality politics on our side 8 years later. I mean, I get the frustration. I don't get the reaction to the frustration.
I will know more about it than you know. And believe me, it won't take me long.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Your forecast for this Rosh Hashanah, Happy New Year to all our Jewish friends out there. Today will be mostly sunny and breezy, a high of 77 degrees. And tomorrow, getting warmer, mostly sunny, pleasant, a high of 80. And then temperatures will be in the 80s for the rest of the week. Let's get the travel times and see how that accident's doing on Stony Island. Here's Jim Telemonte with the latest.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. On the ramp from Stony Island, or I should say from 95th to the Bishop Ford Freeway via Stony Island, that big feeder ramp, it is blocked going to the inbound Bishop Ford Freeway and then to the inbound Ryan right now. This truck crashes on Stony Island south of 95th. Truck hitting the rail viaduct. IDOT has inspected the viaduct. Looks okay, so there shouldn't be a long-term closure, but that ramp remains shut down. The inbound Ryan has delays from the Stevenson into the Burns Circle after some overnight construction. About a 5-minute delay from the Stevenson into downtown. The other expressways and tollways are looking pretty good. Bishop Ford inbound just a little slowing now between 103rd and the merge. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560 The Answer.
Are you at risk of identity theft? Yes. A new identity theft happens every 2 seconds. Does giving out your social security number increase risk? Yes. Putting personal information out there increases risk. If you forget your significant other's birthday, are you at risk of getting the silent treatment? Probably. No one likes having their birthday forgotten, but it won't increase the risk of identity theft. Unfortunately, things like shopping and breaches will. That's why LifeLock goes beyond free services that simply monitor credit, from detecting threats to helping resolve issues if your identity is ever compromised. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but LifeLock has proprietary technology to detect threats and a dedicated resolution staff to help restore your good name. Is getting the silent treatment fun? No, but it's a walk in the park compared to having your identity stolen. Protection starts at $9.99 a month. For 10% off, go to LifeLock.com and use promo code NEWS.
You know what I love about summer? Baseball. You know what I love about baseball? It's a game of probability. You know what I love about my team? Not much, because baseball is a game of probability. The odds of our starting pitcher lasting 3 innings? Slim. The likelihood we'll be mathematically eliminated before July? High. Okay, so maybe I'm not a fan of the probability of my team going above 500. But I am a fan of the fact that with some planning and a little help, I was able to influence the probability that I could retire and stay retired. Maybe our pitcher should consider retirement. Just saying.
Ready to make the game-changing decision to put a plan in place for your retirement? The Mutual Fund Store can help you do just that. Connect with us today for a free review of your investment portfolio or a second opinion on your investments. The person you'll be having a cup of coffee with is right here.
Hi, I'm Steve Jack with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, text from 872, steady hand on the tiller, you mean. Steady hand on the till is a Cook County thing. Very funny. And yes, if I said steady hand on the till, I apologize profusely, Amy.
How are you going to get through the day?
You're supposed to catch me when I make idiomatic mistakes like that. Steady hand on the tiller.
Well, that's why we have
Excuse
texters
me.
to
Yes, thank you.
correct you.
Yes, good. People
Make a
paying
mistake.
attention. So the end of the week fight between Carson and Trump is over.
I think it's just starting to percolate.
Well, I mean, it's over in the sense that Ben Carson has done something Donald Trump can't remember ever doing, which is to apologize,
Right.
to seek forgiveness. When Ben Carson has the wine and the little cracker, as Donald Trump might say, he's more contemplative than perhaps Donald Trump is. But Carson was asked by Greta about his remarks, seeming to really, frankly, kind of gently question Trump's sobriety when it comes to faith, because, according to Carson, he hasn't seen a lot of humility from Donald Trump. It's difficult to argue with that statement, but Ben Carson said he shouldn't have taken the bait.
No, I think I did slip, and that's why I apologize. I really should not have taken that bait. There's no reason ever to question anybody's faith. That's something between them and God. And, I just don't want to get into that at all.
Yeah. Now, Bobby Jindal, on the other hand, not apologizing.
Yeah, he was.
Bobby Jindal, when asked, Trump couldn't even name a specific or single Bible verse that was important to you.
Well, he said that was
impact on him?
personal. I'm sorry, but Trump came out and said that's personal between him and God. His favorite book is the Bible, by the way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Jindal went on to say, you know why Donald Trump has never read the Bible? Because he's not in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Pretty good line.
That is great.
That's a pretty funny
But
line.
I thought it was fair for Ben Carson to question his, Donald Trump's commitment to God, because with God, there's some humility, and Donald Trump doesn't seem to display a lot of humility. Unless this is all an act, which this could be, because Donald Trump is an entertainer, not a politician. It's proven. I mean, he has done well on The Apprentice because...
As soon as you're a candidate for office, you're a politician.
They call me the ratings machine.
They do call him that. I mean, and he
no,
calls
is
himself
that what makes you a politician? So if I ran for student council my senior year as student council class president, am I a politician?
I would say public office.
Okay.
Not high school. Not office at, where did you go again?
Oh my
Resurrection?
Gosh, we stop Resurrection, please. I'm Episcopalian.
Right.
Immaculate Conception. What's that mean? No, I went to John Hersey High School.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we did play Immaculate Conception. And of course, I said, what does that mean?
Right.
And my Catholic friends on the bus were like, wow.
Yeah,
whoa.
you call the ACLU to say, why am I being forced to play a religious school? So it just switching gears, because, this the free fall on the other side is also entertaining to note. Hillary Clinton's out with a new ad in Iowa.
Well, speaking of God, she was at her church yesterday with her husband, Bill, and Chelsea and the grandchild. This is the first time that they were ever seen publicly since she announced.
That church must be a Clinton Foundation donor. Here's Hillary's new ad in Iowa.
When I look at my new granddaughter, I think to myself, we're going to do everything we can to make sure she has opportunities in life. But what about all the kids? You should not have to be the grandchild of a former president to know that you can make it in America. That will be my mission as president, to make sure I do everything I can every single day to knock down the barriers, to open up the doors so that every child has a chance to live up to his or her God-given potential.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
Grandma Hillary's back.
Grandma, yay! What'd you bring me, Grandma?
Right. She's going to give
From the
everyone.
campaign trail.
She's going to give everyone in the Iowa caucus at the Dem side a silver dollar. And that's how she's going to win their vote. Text from these texters are really on me today.
She got her grandchild a onesie that said Iowa Hawkeyes, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure the Iowa State fans not happy with that.
It's okay. We beat them. Doesn't matter.
Text from 773, Wilkie, what about Ike? When I talked about somebody nominated who never held office before.
Yeah, but he...
Ike, obviously a World War II general of note. I'm talking about somebody kind of directly from the private sector, like Wilkie was a corporate attorney. But yeah, Ike, true, never office holder, so I appreciate the text. Quickly on Hillary Clinton, also this news over the weekend, that tech company that kept her server in the bathroom there, saying has no knowledge of her server being wiped, which is a pretty good indication that it is very possible those 31,000 emails she said she deleted and then the server was wiped, so they're gone forever. Maybe not gone forever. So once we get done with the other 30,000 emails the State Department is pouring through, maybe we can start pouring through those too. Boy, that should last us most of the campaign.
Every child has a chance to live up to his or her God potential.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, sorry I'm late. I'm the chair for the company picnic committee, and I'm overwhelmed with finding the perfect catering partner.
Don't be freaked out by that. Tasty Catering has done our company picnic every year for the last 5 years. I actually went to Tasty Catering's kitchen first to taste the food. They serve juicy burgers right from the grill, fresh salads, awesome sides, and fun foods for the kids. Last year, we even had delicious brisket and an entire pig roast.
Can they handle all the details? There's not much time to plan.
Planning was even easier. Tasty Catering handled every detail, from serving pieces to inflatables for the kids, the DJ, and of course, the bar area.
That's exactly what we're looking for.
Just go to tastycatering.com. The pricing was right, and our CFO signed off on the contract immediately.
The best company picnics start at tastycatering.com. View picnic menus and locations, entertainment options, and more. That's tastycatering.com.
Oh, with my boys and their friends running in and out of the house and my cats, my carpet was starting to show some serious foot traffic. So I just had Executive Green Carpet Cleaning come to clean all my carpeted areas and area rugs, and they look fabulous, looks brand new. Executive Green Carpet Cleaning has a different process from the yellow big box companies that I've used in the past and that I'm never going to use again. When Executive Green Carpet Cleaning came to my home, they used their own purified water, not water from my faucet. They pre-treated my carpets and used an environmentally green solution, a salt-based cleaner, not a detergent base, so there's no residue, which is so much safer for the boys and for my precious kittens. Executive Green Carpet Cleaning also cleaned 3 rooms for only $139, and they didn't try to upsell me. So if you want your carpet to look like new again and stay looking like new a lot longer than those big box companies, then you should call Executive Green Carpet Cleaning right now. Schedule an appointment. 708-599-5151. The number is simple, 708-599-5159, or schedule online at executivegreencarpetcleaning.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, when kissing becomes an assault, we'll explain.
And at 5:45, the founder of the Black Lives Matter, the lead professional agitator, has a job in academia. We'll tell you where.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good Monday morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. One of those raging wildfires in Northern California has become deadly. While with destroying hundreds of homes and thousands of other structures, Kimberly Harper says what she is watching is terrifying.
Scariest thing I've ever been through in my life. 10 minutes to pack up and leave.
Whole blocks of houses are burned to the ground in Middletown, California. That is just 20 miles north of Napa Valley. Strike by Seattle teachers heads into its second week today. 53,000 students idled. European Union interior ministers are meeting for emergency talks today on the migration crisis. Ministers talking about how to share European responsibility for thousands of immigrants. A community is in mourning this Monday after an off-duty Chicago Ridge police officer was killed when the car he was riding in was struck by a wrong-way driver. It happened Sunday in the northbound lanes of the Tri-State Tollway near Oak Brook. The death of a suburban Chicago police officer has one lawmaker in Springfield asking for the death penalty again. Democrat Senator Bill Haney telling the Belleville News-Democrat he wants the state to resume executions. And a French restaurant in the Loop is apologizing after a military veteran from Colorado and his service dog were asked to leave. Major Diggs Brown was trying to eat breakfast at Cochon Volant Saturday when he was told he and his black lab were not allowed. Twice. Brown says his dog helps him with PTSD. The eatery later posted an apology on their Facebook page. Philadelphia beat the Cubs 7-4. Was the Twins over the White Sox 7-zip. And to open up the NFL season, Green Bay over the Bears 31-23. The news, a service of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. Call MAD, their 24-hour victim hotline, 877-MAD-HELP or mad.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Hey, if your company manufactures or markets pharmaceuticals, biologics, medical devices, or APIs, you know the challenges of systems integration, FDA compliance, and staffing. To gain access to Chicagoland's top life sciences engineering, quality assurance, project management, regulatory, software, and validation professionals, you need the experts at Automated Systems, Inc. All of ASI's resources are degreed professionals with decades of industry experience in manufacturing, automation, and FDA compliance. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life science companies to successful startups. For over a quarter of a century, ASI has excelled through a culture of execution and client success. For information about staffing or a no-obligation compliance or automation evaluation, call Laz at Automated Systems toll-free at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI.
This week at Whole Foods Market, save on Paulo red apples at $1.49 per pound. Stock up on healthy at Whole Foods Market, America's healthiest grocery store.
Merlin 200,000-mile shops are offering car owners 40 hints for money-saving motoring.
Hint number 17.
The way to get car repair clout is to form an alliance.
So Merlin invites you to join our Drive for 200,000 Alliance.
First, it'll get you discounts on all our products and services.
Plus, you store up cash, which is deposited in a personal Merlin savings account.
You can then use your savings account to purchase bigger things like name brand tires and maintenance services.
So, join Merlin's Drive for 200,000-mile alliance.
Clout is what it's all about.
At Merlin, more life for you and your car.
It's shocking, but winter is just around the corner, and your shocks and struts play an important role in delivering satisfactory steering, stopping, and stability. Visit Merlin for a free suspension check, and right now you can buy 4 shocks or struts for the price of 3 by mail-in rebate with Monroe's Shocktober promotion. You can visit Merlins.com for locations, coupons, and to make an appointment.
5:37 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Eisenhower at Sacramento, there's a report of a medical emergency. IDOT and fire crews are responding there. We see a bit of a delay now in westbound 190, the Kennedy to Manheim, with traffic headed to O'Hare. The Kennedy itself is still good. Eden's clear. Stevenson, a little heavy inbound past Cicero. Inbound Ryan has a 5-minute delay from the Stevenson into downtown. Bishopford inbound, the entrance from Stony Island is blocked with a truck crash on the feeder. And the Bishopford has delays starting at 103rd. It's about a 5-minute delay approaching the Ryan. Traffic is a service of the Milwaukee Airport with all the major U.S. airlines. Great fares and parking as low as $7 a day. You'll save time and money when you fly off the interstate to Milwaukee's airport. Visit flymke.com to see why more people are choosing Milwaukee, the O'Hare alternative. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from our aircomfort.com weather center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Sunny and breezy, 77 today. 53 at O'Hare, 59 along the lakefront. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next On AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Power Trading Radio. Heard Sundays at 2 p.m. Brought to you each week by Online Trading Academy.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, wow.
Wow. A little early for that.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that you were one of the original members of the Revolution.
I love Prince. I followed him to Miami for the Purple Bowl.
Yeah.
When they dropped a bathtub down from the second floor onto the first floor.
That's something you
It's
should.
quite the show.
That's something you should think about not sharing. I mean, I just some advice. So, Amy, you are the mother of two young men, as I think you're aware.
Yes, I am. And what are their names?
They're Peyton and Eli.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Eli struggled last night against the
He
Cowboys.
did. I don't know why he wouldn't release the ball. Don't be afraid. Don't play scared. It's not a good look.
Listen to Mom.
Thank you.
So this story has to be a little bit jarring from Pikesville, Maryland. A 13-year-old boy will be charged with second-degree assault. Charged with second-degree assault for kissing a 14-year-old girl on a dare. The assault happened at the middle school on Friday. Police were called to the scene. School officials took a report. This is from a local station out there. School officials took a report regarding a 13-year-old boy who kissed a 14-year-old girl during school hours. The unwanted kiss was allegedly the result of a dare made by students. Police confirmed that the boy is facing second-degree assault charges as a juvenile. No one was injured in the incident. Well, that's good. That's good news.
Well, that's sweet.
He didn't
tackle her, did he?
Apparently not. And disciplinary action related to suspension or expulsion will be handed down by the school system.
Wait, did this girl feel victimized or something, or did somebody see something so they had to say something? Hey, that's ridiculous. I mean,
the real turn of a phrase is see something.
No, because I've got the CPS Code of Conduct pamphlet here, and it says if you see something and don't say something, then you're culpable. Then you're aiding and abetting. So if somebody is being forced to do something, that's exclusive.
Yeah.
Against their will, then that is classified as an assault.
Now, is that CPS Code of Conduct, does that apply to the administrators and teachers, the adults in the system as well, or is that just for the children?
Just for the children.
Well, so this is part of the kind of a lobotomized, zero tolerance, everything is a criminal, everything is criminal action. We turn everything over to the police or some other distant authority because the adults in charge of, like, say, for example, a middle school can't regulate this conduct and can't involve the parents, make the kid, the 13-year-old boy, apologize, give him detention so that he learns a lesson. Do you think he should be charged with second-degree assault?
Oh, heck no. I mean, this is why the wussification of America and how women are always victimized, and I'm so sick of it. We're not always victims. This is a rite of passage. This is a youthful indiscretion. It's okay. This is what kids do when they're young. Well, and now you can't even kiss somebody? I mean, he didn't mash her. He didn't mash with her. He didn't make out with her. He just kissed her on the cheek.
Yeah, adolescent.
He didn't pin her down.
Adolescent boys daring one of their friends to do something silly like that. Is this kids being kids, or does this rise to the level where local authorities should be involved? 312-642-5600 is the Turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA is the Turnkey.pro text line. And one of the other things I'll say about this, too, because everything is driven by culture. So what's the culture in academia? So in higher education. And we think, well, this will just be contained to these idiotic, politically correct college campuses. Wrong. Listen to Jared Polis from last week. This was I referenced this last week, but we didn't get a chance to play the audio.
Was this Friday?
Yeah, this was Jared Polis, who's a Democrat congressman from Colorado. By the way, for those of you who think, we just need more people from business and in politics, and they'll run government like a business, and they've got that business sensibility. Jared Polis is the founder of Blue Mountain online greeting cards, which he sold for about $500 million. So a pretty successful young businessman in his early 40s. And he's kind of libertarian on social issues, too. So he's very enlightened, because I understand that's what enlightenment is in the modern era, which is being, quote-unquote, fiscally conservative and socially liberal. And usually that turns out that you're not fiscally conservative either, but that's a separate discussion. Jared Polis, this is during a hearing about campus assaults and what to do about sexual assault, the epidemic, to listen to some, on college campuses with respect to sexual assault. And you tell me that this doesn't redound down to the local level, and you have a congressman say what Jared Polis said. And this is a bit extended, but it's worth the wait.
Thank you. Mr. Cohn, is the problem that you have with the campus judicial processes, is it the standard, or is it what you consider to be a flawed implementation of the standards they use, or both?
I think both.
So now, I mean, it certainly seems reasonable that a school, for its own purposes, might want to use a preponderance of evidence standard, or even a lower standard, perhaps a likelihood standard. I mean, we're talking about a private institution, and if I was running one, I might say, well, even if there's a 20 or 30% chance that it happened, I wouldn't want to. I would want to remove this individual. Why shouldn't a private institution, in the interest of promoting a safe environment, use an even lower standard than a preponderance of evidence, like a reasonable likelihood standard?
Right. Private institutions operate under different rules than the public ones because the Constitution doesn't necessarily apply. So that question has been answered in the public institutions, that due process is paramount, and due process requires reasonable determinations, which you don't get under the even lower standards than preponderance. Prior to the Department of Education,
so is the lowest standard you can use under due process is preponderance of evidence?
The lowest standard you can use in a court for the fact-finding portion would be preponderance.
Well, but I think we're talking about again now. So if you're saying it would be a public university. Can they say we want to use a reasonable likelihood standard for purposes of expulsion or whether a student can re-enroll?
I don't think that would have any chance of satisfying a due process challenge. But I also
But a preponderance of evidence would.
No. I mean, a preponderance of the evidence can, in some circumstances, pass it and could fail in others, depending on what other procedural protections it's coupled with.
Okay.
When a preponderance of the evidence,
it seems like we ought to provide more of a legal framework then that allows a reasonable likelihood standard or a preponderance of evidence standard. I mean, if there's 10 people that have been accused and, under a reasonable likelihood standard, maybe one or two did it, seems better to get rid of all 10 people.
The last line, obviously, is the key line.
Mm-hmm.
But the back and forth, I wanted to provide the context. So understand what Jared Polis said at the end. If 10 people are accused, but only one or two actually did it, it's better to get rid of all 10.
But that's not fair.
Well, that's not, and frankly, whether you can get by with a preponderance or a lower standard of evidence at a private institution is kind of secondary to one of the founding principles of this country, which is that you have a presumption of innocence. That's kind of the foundation of substantive due process, regardless of the evidentiary standard. And for him to say that it's okay if I've got 10 people accused and only one or two did it, that we expel all 10. I mean, do you think expulsion from a university has an impact on your academic record and thus your professional opportunities, particularly in the short term?
Good luck getting a job.
Particularly when the expulsion is of a nature that's related to the accusation of sexual assault. Now, Jared Polis is saying this against the backdrop of University of Virginia fake rape case that Rolling Stone had to recant, against the backdrop of the mattress school at Columbia University, where the school investigated her sexual assault claim and found no evidence to support it. But in Jared Polis's world, the kid at University of Virginia, the kid at Columbia, they'd be gone. Now, if Jared Polis was subject to that, I wonder what he would say, because it's very easy to make an accusation.
Oh, anybody could say anything about you. Anybody could file a lawsuit against you and make accusations against you. And the only way to defend yourself is you really don't have a defense because it's out there. It's the front page news for one day, and the next day when the lawsuit's dropped or something happens, nobody really hears about it. And it's etched into your mind.
I wonder what Jared Polis, who's openly gay, by the way, and I say that for the point of this example, I wonder what Jared Polis would say if in this 13-year-old boy, 14-year-old girl case, there was a 13-year-old boy and a 14-year-old boy, and that 13-year-old boy was being charged with second-degree sexual assault. Would he say that's homophobia? I wonder what he would say if the same thing happened at a college campus where it was a man on man or woman on woman in terms of the accusation. Would he rally to the defense of the accused, saying, wait a second, we need to make sure that this accused person is actually responsible based on the evidence before we just cast him or her out?
That's a good question.
Jared Polis is a good example of this fundamental problem on the left. People are inconvenient. In Jared Polis's pursuit to perfect humanity, there's going to be some eggs broken. There's going to be some people that have to be cast aside. And as long as it's not people he likes or has concern about, then it's okay.
What does it mean to you now when the team is struggling?
I want to kiss you. I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Forecast for today, we're going to have plenty of sunshine. It will be breezy, a high of 77 degrees. Then tomorrow, even warmer, mostly sunny, a high of 80. Let's get the travel times and see if the ramp to the inbound Bishop Ford is still blocked near Stony Island. Here's Jim Talamonte.
It is, Amy. Good morning. Morning, Dan. Going from 95th to Stony Island on the inbound Bishop Ford to the Rye, and that ramp remains closed. A truck hit the viaduct there on the southbound Stony Island feeder. Bishop Ford, about a 5-minute delay from 115th to the Ryan. And the Ryan is a 5-minute delay from the Stevenson to downtown. Edens is good. Kennedy inbound fine. Outbound heavy approaching O'Hare. Westbound 190 stop and go from Kennedy to Manheim. Inbound Eisenhower. It's slow going Costner before Sacramento, where a medical emergency is 2 right lanes blocked. 36 minutes Thorndale to downtown. Stevenson, just about a 2-minute delay Cicero to Kedzie. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
For a long time, Turnkey IT has been providing solutions to AM 560 business owners. It's a name that you have come to know and trust. These guys do it all, from on-site service calls and help desk to all-in networks. They have a plan that fits your company's technology needs. Want to move your business to the cloud? Turnkey can migrate your network to Microsoft's Office 365. Is having someone to call when you misplace a file or accidentally open that email with a virus important? Well, then Turnkey's got you covered. Time for all new equipment? With Turnkey's all-in plan, your business will have brand new equipment and the highest level of support you can find. Do you want professional and timely support from your IT company? Turnkey is prompt and responsive to support requests, shows up on time, and provides service even after normal business hours. Turnkey IT knows your network is truly the heartbeat of your company, so focus on your business and leave the technical stuff to the pros. Visit turnkey.pro today for a plan that fits your needs. That's turnkey.pro.
The movie Captive is a powerful true story of faith over fear.
Police looking for Brian Nichols.
A man on the run.
You scream again and I will have to kill you.
A woman held captive.
My name is Ashley.
In your darkest hour, who will you turn to?
God, please help me.
What is that?
The book, The Purpose-Driven Life.
Read it to me.
God expects you to make the most of what you have been given.
Could you forgive me?
I don't know. Maybe God can.
Captive. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. In theaters Friday. For group sales and tickets, visit CaptiveTheMovie.com.
This is Dan Proft with an upstream idea, brought to you in part by the Illinois Policy Institute. 66. That's the percentage of fourth graders in the state of Illinois who neither read nor do math at a fourth grade level. 2/3 of the children among the 2.1 million grammar school students in the state are falling behind before they get to fourth grade. Is this a state spending problem? State spending on K through 12 education has increased by more than 60% in real terms during the past 2 decades. Perhaps it's how the money is spent rather than how much of it is spent. And perhaps it's time to rethink how we do K through 12 education in the 21st century. Things like at what grade level we teach foreign languages, in what order do we teach science, and the length of the school day. This should sound an alarm for those in charge of funding and administering K through 12 education in Illinois to finally force real system change. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. That website, upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
Hey, what's up? Holla at your boy. XOXOXO. You getting these texts? Question mark. Where are you? What are you doing? OMG, you are making me mad. You better text me back. I'm waiting outside your house.
Relentless, aggressive texting is like sending an angry robot to deliver your message. When does the robot become dangerous? Let us know at that'snotcool.com.
That'snotcool.com.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
AM 560, The Answer.
What song is this, Dan?
That is the
Please.
fight song for the Yale University. Quickly, we were talking about this 13-year-old boy kissing his 14-year-old girl on a dare. I mean, this is an incredible text, but it tells you where some of the people are. And by the way, this is a Trump supporter. Text from,
don't say
text from 708. Would you prefer boys feel they can go around kissing girls? What would the adult be charged with? Really?
It was a dare, and he kissed her on the cheek.
And he's 13-year-old and 14-year-old. What would the adults be charged with? They would be charged with assault because, they're adults. you can punish without involving the police. 708. Is that a foreign concept to you?
And even but I even think it'd be a stretch to get the parents involved. I mean, just tell the kid, hey, little Jimmy, don't do that again, all right? Keep your hands to yourself.
No,
That's it.
No, I think
Done. I think
you get the parents involved to tell them what he did and why he's getting detention or some other disciplinary action.
Detention?
Well, yeah, but I don't have a problem with that. And tell the parents because that's where discipline starts at home. So that's why you should tell the parents, yeah, hey, if you're, the proverbial, if your friends dare you to run off a cliff, you're not going to do it. So don't do everything they dare you to do, you nitwit.
Kiss. It was his first kiss.
How do you know?
I was reading up on it because I've been fascinated by this story. Like, you've got to, because this is coming down the pipe next year, maybe Mike will be dared to go kiss,
You're going to have to
what's her name?
All the boys are going to have to wear halos like an injured dog.
I'll get him a hazmat suit.
I mean, honestly.
And he won't be able to touch anybody.
708, you should be embarrassed for that text, by the way. So speaking of academia and how we're talking about how it redounds down to the idiocy, where we're talking about the local level, at the middle school level, there's this story. Yale University, the Ivy League schools founded as divinity schools. Boy, have they lost their foundation or any tether to it. DeRay McKesson, he's the lead agitator for hashtag Black Lives Matter, will teach a one-credit course as a guest lecturer at Yale Divinity School. He'll join U.S. Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, of course, Reverend Nancy Taylor, from a church in Boston, to teach a special 3-section course as part of a new leadership program, transformational leadership in the hashtag Black Lives Matter movement. Get your seats now. That's the name of DeRay McKesson's course.
What's the name of it?
Transformational leadership in the hashtag Black Lives Matter movement. He'll present case studies about the work of organizing, public advocacy, civil disobedience to social change, and blah, blah, blah. A bunch of academic gobbledygook.
We call it gobbledygook.
That's not what I call it. And so, McKesson worked as a human resources administrator in a Minneapolis public school system, so that makes him qualified to teach at Yale. And also, too, a real good message sender. This is somebody who's a real deep thinker. You want to instruct young people. By the way, also happening at Yale, a debate. One of the residential colleges at Yale named after John C. Calhoun, because John C. Calhoun was a Yale valedictorian. And so now there's a movement to whitewash, if you will, John C. Calhoun's name from the campus of Yale, like how Democrats are kind of wanting to rewrite whitewash history. I have a question for the Democrats. What about FDR? These segregationists and proponents of nullification like a John C. Calhoun, that's low-hanging fruit. That's easy. What about FDR? They're Ronald Reagan of the 20th century. Their greatest president of the 20th century, according to liberals. Someone whose wife Hillary Clinton channels, communes with. FDR interned Japanese Americans. Japanese Americans interned after the Pearl Harbor attack. A disgraceful period in our history. Racist. When is the move on the left to eradicate FDR from the history of America, I ask you?
Maybe we should kiss just to break the tension.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I was on thyroid medicine for 5 years. I have completely got off of it, and all my blood work came back excellent.
It does a lot of good for me because I feel it works. The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down, and it's normal now.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Have you noticed cracked or sinking concrete around your home, driveways, sidewalks, garage
garage floors or patios. In addition to looking bad, cracked or sinking concrete causes an uneven surface that poses a safety hazard. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. Would you like to fix the problem without replacing the concrete? We have the solution for you. Permaseal polylevel foam can be injected beneath concrete surfaces, leveling and preventing future settlement. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL for a free evaluation. The polylevel process is done with minimal disruption, quickly and at a fraction of the cost of concrete replacement. And unlike traditional mud jacking methods, polylevel foam is lightweight so it doesn't add additional weight to the area. Polylevel is the most durable and cosmetically appealing solution to your cracked or sinking concrete. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-SEAL or visit permaseal.net.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:16, we'll have an update on that Office Depot flyer controversy.
And then we'll have the latest. Another state trooper, this time in Kentucky, has been shot. But let's get the latest first from Mike Scott, who joins us in the newsroom with much more details.
Amy and Dan, the stories we're watching include an off-duty Chicago Ridge police officer killed in a wrong-way crash. One lawmaker wants to bring back the death penalty in this state. And a healthcare provider stopping payments as the budget impasse continues. Bears struggle against the Packers, and a complete look at weather after Fox News, WIND, Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. There's a manhunt for a cop killer in Kentucky. A suspect from Missouri who fled a traffic stop late last night, then suddenly stopped and fired shots at the state police cruiser in the Eddyville area. That cruiser had been chasing him. The state trooper inside, Joseph Ponder, was killed, and the suspect ran away. Death and a lot of destruction in Northern California.
Scariest thing I've ever been through in my life. 10 minutes to pack up and leave.
After a fast-moving wildfire raged through Middletown and Hidden Valley Lake, killing one person, burning down about 400 homes.
It's sad that all those memories are gone.
In many cases, there's nothing left but charred appliances and smoldering foundations.
We did the best we could, but the fire then spread from structure to structure to structure.
Cal Fire Operations Chief Todd Durham. Thousands of people are evacuated. Another wildfire south of Sacramento burned down 81 homes. European Union leaders are meeting today to discuss how to handle the migrant crisis. Germany's putting new controls in place to stem the tide of refugees. Hungary's taking more extreme measures. Fox News Radio's Simon Owen is live on the Hungary-Serbia border.
Dave, I'm standing beside an old train line that links Hungary and Serbia. These days, it's become a footpath for refugees and other migrants trekking across Europe. Families just keep walking by. This is the point where they enter the EU. But either side of the line, there's a 13-foot-tall razor wire fence. Hungary's controversial solution, sealing its border. It says it can't handle record numbers of arrivals. This, we're told, is the final gap, the final way in. And the word here is it could be closed, the fence completed, by tonight. Dave?
Simon, parents, you know what can be dangerous? Tricycles. A new study out of Emory University and the Medical College of Georgia finds a lot of injuries, even deaths. In 2012 and 13, there were 9,000 emergency room visits for little trike riders, a lot of them 2-year-old boys. Injuries range from broken bones to gashes to leg amputations. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
57 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man is dead after a house explodes on the far south side. Fire officials say that blaze broke out early this morning in the 10,000 block of South Morgan. Crews found a man unresponsive after putting the blaze out and tamping things down. No other injuries were reported. The community in mourning after an off-duty Chicago Ridge police officer was killed when the car he was riding in was struck by a wrong-way driver. It happened Sunday in the northbound lanes of the Tri-State Tollway when it smashed into another car near Oak Brook. The chief of police says Officer Stephen Smith is going to be missed.
Steve was always very outgoing with the officers. They had a lot of fun with Steve. Steve was a great person. He's going to be truly missed by our officers.
Smith was pronounced dead at the scene. As of last night, no charges have been filed. The death of a suburban Chicago police officer has one lawmaker in Springfield asking again for the death penalty. Democrat Senator Bill Haney telling the Belleville News-Democrat he wants the state to resume executions. Former Governor George Ryan cleared death row and asked lawmakers to end that death penalty almost 20 years ago. Illinois' next budget casualty could sting for some state employees. Governor Bruce Rauner is considering a plan to end payments for state health insurance benefits. Workers would still have coverage, but the state may stop paying doctors and dentists for treating state employees. Almost 400,000 workers and retirees could be impacted. Philadelphia beat the Cubs 7-4. Chris Coughlin did have a home run and 2 triples in that loss. Minnesota over the White Sox 7-0. NFL was Green Bay over the Bears 31-23. The news, a service of the city of Chicago and Cook County. Suspicious activity can be found anywhere. Help keep our community safe. Call 855-RPRT-2S4. If you see something, say something from the Chicago Office of Emergency Management and Communications and the Cook County Department of Homeland Security. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
On Wednesday, September 16th, the Republican presidential candidates are heading to Hollywood for their second debate, and AM 560 is rolling out the red carpet. Join us for Big Issues on the Big Screen, a debate watch party at the Hollywood Palm Cinema in Naperville. Watch the debate on the big screen. The best way to get tickets? Buy a ticket to Freedom Summit Chicago 2015 and get a free ticket to Big Issues on the big screen. Go to freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Automated Systems Incorporated, Sol Z and the Z Team, the Ayn Rand Institute, and by Toories Auto Body of Bellwood.
How do you stay connected to your business when your work has you traveling from Miami on Monday to Tacoma on Tuesday? You call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES. Regis offers drop-in business lounges, meeting rooms, and office space in more than 3,000 locations worldwide, allowing you to work from anywhere at any time, all on your terms. Call Regis today at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And J.D. Power ranked Bayer's portfolio of meters highest in customer satisfaction with blood glucose meters. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Health Mart.
6:05 at our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On Metra's Rock Island line, train 402 due downtown at 640. Stop near Joliet. There's a broken down freight train blocking the way. The Edens is fine. Kennedy inbound good, but outbound. Slow Montrose to the airport, and there are delays, heavy delays on westbound 190 from the Kennedy to the terminal area. About 30 minutes. And rising from downtown to O'Hare. Inbound Eisenhower, so Manheim to First and Laramie to Costner. An earlier medical emergency near Sacramento has cleared. 36 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 30. The Stevenson, 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic is a service of Whole Foods Market. This week at Whole Foods Market, save on Paula Red apples at $1.49 per pound. Visit any of their 25 Chicagoland locations, including the Willowbrook store and its brand new location, 6300 Kingery Highway. Whole Foods Market, America's healthiest grocery store. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Here is meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly sunny and breezy, high 77. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 61. Mostly sunny tomorrow, high 80. And partly cloudy at night, low 58. Mostly sunny and breezy Wednesday with a high of 81. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
53 at O'Hare. Next news, 6:30. Continuous news coverage at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pure Shale Financial Group.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Thousands attended the funeral this week for Lieutenant Joseph Glenowitz. The fallen police officer was hailed as a hero who was shot to death in the line of duty. But now, in a stunning twist, Fox News has learned that some close to the investigation believe that Glenowitz's death might have been a well-staged suicide.
A brand new Quinnipiac University poll putting Dr. Ben Carson in second place with 21% in Iowa. Only Donald Trump is ahead of him, the Donald polling at 27%.
This is the kind of a mindset we need now in this country. We have to become rich again, and we're going to become great again. Yeah.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. So, as you heard at during Mike Scott's newscast, another tragic murder of a police officer. Kentucky State Trooper, 31-year-old Trooper Joseph Cameron Ponder, conducting a traffic stop last night around 10:20 p.m. when apparently a chase ensued. There was the trooper making contact with the suspect's car at the end of that chase, and the suspect then opening fire on the trooper's police cruiser, killing 31-year-old Joseph Ponder. There is a suspect.
Yes, and his description is this: African-American male, black male, 5 feet 5 inches tall, about 140 pounds. His name is Joseph Thomas Johnson Shanks. He's still on the loose this morning, but apparently, he got this trooper involved because he suddenly stopped during the troop. So the trooper's vehicle made contact with his vehicle, and that's when he turned around and unloaded into his police cruiser, hit him several times, and the police officer, who was so young, 31 years old, was taken to the hospital where he died.
And apparently, Mr. Shanks fled on foot. So I suspect he is not going to be at large for too much longer. And
well, we
certainly
hope
hope not. Yeah. So,
but they've asked all the residents in the area, again, to lock your doors, lock your windows. Don't go outside if you don't have to. And this is near Eddyville, Kentucky, which is western Kentucky.
I look forward to hearing from D. Ray McKesson, a noted academic at Yale University now, because he got a teaching job there. D. Ray McKesson from #BlackLivesMatter. About this, because he looks at everything, as do those professional agitators, through the prism of race. And so we have a black male and a black male suspect and a white male police officer who is a state trooper who is dead, apparently at the hands of this 25-year-old black male. So how we should view this. Anyway, so that's...
did he go over after the police officer because he was white? Or the state trooper? That's a possibility.
Well,
we don't know what the motives are yet.
I have no idea. I'm not going to do what the other side does, which is wildly speculate based on the racial composition of the parties involved. That's silliness. That's irresponsible. That's what the left does. So we'll update that story as more information becomes available, but it broke overnight, so we wanted to relay that. In addition, we talked at the end of last week, about this... turning into a bit of a Keystone Cops operation up in Lake County, with the coroner and the Lake County Major Crimes Task Force having dueling press releases. First, the coroner saying things that law enforcement didn't appreciate him saying, and they memorialized their distaste for what the coroner had to say in a press release, not seeing the different parties working together to resolve this death investigation is a bit unseemly. But this is what happens oftentimes when you have international media scrutinizing you. Everybody feels like they need to be out first, or they need to say something. They need to protect their little fiefdom, rather than just kind of keeping it at bay and working together to get to the right answer, and then presenting the right answer jointly.
Well, I'm going to defend Thomas Rudd, the Lake County coroner, because he has a job to do. And his job is to determine cause of death. And when the media asked him, and I asked him 2 days, the first time he said, no, I can't comment. And then all of a sudden got a phone call back where he said it was either a homicide, an accidental shooting, or suicide.
That covers pretty much all possible options. That wasn't the problem.
Well, the problem was that they didn't want him to release that information.
No, the problem. What he released.
But he can't complete his coroner's report unless he gets a report from the police department.
What the problem was, he gave details about which shot which bullet entered where and which bullet was the cause of death. That's what they didn't want to release, the specifics.
That's inside information that I thought Fox News obtained. I mean, he didn't give me specifics when I asked specifically which bullet killed him.
It was a story in the Tribune on Friday.
Okay. And then followed up by a Fox News report. Here's Matt Finn, who investigated and got an inside source and gave some pretty descriptive details about what happened.
A source who is a member of the task force tells Fox News the evidence suggests the possibility that Officer Joseph Glenowitz might have killed himself. The source says Glenowitz's body was discovered face down in a remote area, his service weapon next to him. 2 shell casings were found. One came from a shot that hit Glenowitz's Kevlar vest. Roughly 100 feet away, another casing found from the fatal shot that struck Glenowitz underneath his bulletproof vest in a downward trajectory, hitting him near the heart. Sources say one hand was found underneath his chest in what's described as a gun-holding position. 2 separate sources say Glenowitz had no defensive wounds and there was no sign of a struggle, especially one to save his own life.
So it was a chest shot, not a headshot.
Not a headshot, which my federal friends tell me was a headshot. That was wrong information. But they all from the get-go, they said there was 2 shots fired from his own service weapon. But when I talked to Rudd, he wouldn't tell me which shot fatally shot him. So I guess the Tribune, kudos to them. They got the inside information. But when you have this information out there now that his hand was underneath the bulletproof vest, there's no signs of defensive wounds, no signs of a struggle.
Still waiting for the ballistics to come back, gunpowder on his hands and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but I mean, if his hand was underneath the vest and the weapon was found next to him, I mean, this looks nothing more than suicide. Then why wouldn't they come out and say it is a suicide?
Well, I guess they're not done with the investigation. There's other pieces of evidence to cull together, including, as I said, the ballistics report. So why not get everything together to make sure that all questions that are going to be asked can be answered definitively? But that's the way it's tracking. And you'll note, and we noted last week, that the language has changed. So what went from a murder investigation is now a death investigation. So it seems to me they're moving in that direction too, but they're not done with their investigation. So, these things should be done on a timeline of getting evidence together and being able to answer all legitimate questions. It shouldn't be because we in the media say we have enough to satisfy our curiosity and what we think happened.
Well, law enforcement.
That's why we have law enforcement.
Right, but law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line every day are getting a little sick of this. I mean, one person in particular is Joseph Battaglia, retired Chicago cop, 54 years old.
Getting a little too sick of it.
Well, he has been calling, because I've got friends still, on the news, and he's been calling certain stations all the time. We do believe he called our station as well to say this was a suicide. But on Friday, he took it one step further, and around 2 o'clock, he called the coroner's office and threatened the task force members, as well as other investigators involved in the death investigation.
He
said, "Look,
he threatened Paul. He threatened Rudd, not
Yeah.
Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd's the actor, not the coroner in Lake County. Threatened Tom Rudd, and he also threatened Falenko, according to the Tribune.
Yeah,
story.
and he said, "You better come out and say this. Call it what it is. This death was a suicide, and if you don't do that, I'm going to harm you." So he had blocked the telephone number, preventing them from seeing what number. But they finally found him. They caught up with him at his home in Oak Lawn and arrested him, and now he's being held on a $100,000 bond.
Yeah, well, that wasn't particularly bright, was it? You don't threaten people. So I don't know that one person who's under arrest for making threats is representative of all police who want this resolved. I mean, we all want it resolved as quickly as possible, but we can't wait a few more days for more evidence to be gathered to close the circle and conclude the investigation. Well, what's the rush?
The rush is that they're giving money. People who don't have much money are pouring as much as they have over to Glenowitz's family members. I think they've gotten $200,000+ from just people in the community because they feel bad that this officer put his life on the line. But maybe this was a well-planned out suicide. So I think that's where some of the angst is coming from.
Well, sure. But
the 18-mile procession for him.
Yes.
Governor Ronner going to his funeral.
Yes. And since that occurred, now we have stories where this case has taken a turn, don't we? So now everybody is following this case just as we are and can draw their own conclusions as more information becomes available. But in terms of law enforcement's responsibility, the investigator's responsibility, it's not their responsibility to wrap up the case because people are voluntarily making donations, or wrap up the case because members of the media are satisfied with the information that we have at this point. That's not responsible. That's not what investigators should do. There are other questions I would have if I was a member of the media going to these subsequent press conferences that we know will come to pass. Why? That's a question everybody's going to want to know. And so why not let the entity in charge of this find out as much information as possible so they can share as much information as possible when the time comes?
They don't know why. And that's the thing,
well,
because they're still...
That's why we should have an investigation continue.
But all they could tell me when I asked why was we are seeing whether or not G.I. Joe had anything to do with the internal investigation that was going on by the police chief.
Yes.
And the village of the police chief, former police chiefs of Fox Lake.
So based on that's the statement you just made, that would lead one to logically conclude that you should want the investigation to continue to get those answers, shouldn't it?
And it's going to continue. I mean, eventually we are going to have an answer, but we may never have an answer. If it is a suicide, we may never have an answer as to why he did it.
So what's the problem? What's the problem with the investigation continuing? I don't understand.
No, I just think that knowing what they know and the information that was released via the Tribune and what happened with Fox News's investigation, that this is they should come forward now and just call it like it is. That this was a well-planned suicide. And his last transmission call where he threw in two white suspects and a black male. I mean, if this is a planned suicide and he threw in the black male, why?
Wait, I don't understand. Okay, so we know that there were two white men and a black man in the vicinity because they were subsequently identified on videotape, questioned, and released. So what are you talking about? Threw it up? He didn't make that up. They were there. They were clearly not responsible for his murder. That was concluded by the investigators. But what are you talking about? He didn't make it up.
I don't know.
They existed.
I asked so many times saying, do you really have surveillance video of two white guys and a black guy walking around at 7:30 in the morning in Fox Lake? Like, yeah, no, we do. And I asked again, I said, are you sure? Are you just trying to keep with this narrative?
So now you're suggesting that the investigators are lying. They didn't have videotape. They didn't find these three suspects. They didn't question them, and they didn't release them. That's all been conjured up. Is that what you really want to do?
Three people walking around, but I don't think it was two white guys and a black guy. I think it was three white guys. Honestly,
I know you want to be the Booker T. Washington of the 21st century, but that is so preposterous, and it is so without foundation. I mean, this is why investigators should get everything possible together before they talk to the media, because in the absence of that, you have media engage in reckless speculation.
I asked several times, can we see the surveillance tape? Where they took surveillance security camera from.
Who are you to demand anything? Yeah, you can file a FOIA, and this is an ongoing investigation, so it's not FOIA-able at present.
But someday it will be.
Yeah,
available.
Someday it will be. And boy, when it comes out, I hope you remember what you said here today.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Forecast for today, mostly sunny, breezy, a high of 77 degrees. And then tomorrow, it's going to be warmer. Plenty of sunshine, a high of 80. In fact, we're going to have a string of 80-degree days for the rest of the week. It looks wonderful. Let's see if traffic is wonderful on the highways and the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. If only. On the inbound side of the Bishop Ford Freeway, the crews have uprighted a truck, which had hit a viaduct on that Stony Island feeder. So it is closed for now. We're told it should be opening shortly, that feeder ramp to the inbound Bishop Ford. Ford Freeway itself not really affected. It's only 18 minutes from 8094 to Ryan. I-57 just 16 minutes. The Edens is fine, but the outbound Kennedy has significant delays from Fullerton to O'Hare. 36 minutes downtown to the airport, and westbound 190 is jammed from the Kennedy to the terminal area. The Eisenhower is 37 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Stevenson, 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. And the Ryan, 20 minutes from 95th to the Loop. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, Joshi, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
The Home Improvement and Remodeling Expo that Bob Vila promotes is coming back to the Lake County Fairgrounds September 19th and 20th. If you're looking to remodel your kitchen, bathroom, basement, or you're in the market for a new roof, flooring, windows, or siding, then this is the event for you. At this free two-day expo, you'll meet local and national contractors displaying their best products and services. Get fresh ideas, set up estimates, and talk directly with contractors, many of which are offering huge discounts. Maybe you need a new fence, deck, gutter protection, or just a handyman. You'll find everything you need under one roof. Increase the value of your home and impress your friends and family by getting the hottest home updates. Pick the brains of the experts and hire your next remodeling contractor at the upcoming Home Improvement and Remodeling Expo, September 19th and 20th at the Lake County Fairgrounds in Grays Lake. This is the Home Expo Bob Vila promotes, and admission and parking are free. Get more information at homeshowevent.com. That's homeshowevent.com.
Matt McCann is a nationally known expert on long-term care planning and endorsed by the American Association for Long-Term Care Insurance. Affordable long-term care insurance is a smart way to plan for the physical, emotional, and financial burdens long-term health care can have on a family and loved ones.
Learn more about long-term health care planning and get your free quotes from all the top companies.
Order your special report now and learn how easy it is to plan. Go to RadioLTC.com or call toll-free 866-751-7957. 866-751-7957. That's 866-751-7957. Discover your options today and get free quotes. RadioLTC.com. RadioLTC.com. That's RadioLTC.com. McCann Insurance Services. Long-term care, critical care, and asset protection planning. RadioLTC.com.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. They really are just like your original ones. What you probably don't know is that not all implants are the same quality, and there are a lot of unqualified people doing implants.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one. I was happy with it. So I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth, and they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. You'll be happy you did, and Fox River Periodontics.
Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy. So on Friday, we had Maria Goldstein on the show. Maria Goldstein is a woman who wanted to get a flyer printed at Office Depot. So she ordered it online. She wanted to pick up copies of the flyer at the Schaumburg location. No can do, Maria Goldstein, because some Office Depot employee was uncomfortable with the content of her flyer, so they canceled the order.
What was on her flyer?
The flyer was with respect to defunding Planned Parenthood, and it contained data points taken and cited from the Planned Parenthood 2013-2014 annual report. And then it had a prayer for the conversion of Planned Parenthood with an admonition to join in prayer and fasting August 22nd to the 29th. The prayer was from Father Frank Pavone, who's the National Director of Priests for Life. And then it had a link to the Center for Medical Progress on it.
Did it have any graphic aborted fetus photos on it?
No, and what if it had?
Well, I'm just trying to get in the person's head who said they were so offended.
Oh,
so what did
no.
they find offensive? Just that it was trying to defund Planned Parenthood? They thought it was an attack on a woman's right to choose?
Yeah, apparently Office Depot, their corporate office initially said that, that anything that makes an employee feel uncomfortable, that we can refrain from printing. Problem is that according to a pretty fair read of the Cook County Human Rights Ordinance, this is a violation, discriminating against someone based on their religious affiliation. So Office Depot, after we did the story on Friday, this thing blew up and it was all over the place over the weekend. Office Depot has reversed course. Office Depot issued the following statement that they have contacted Maria Goldstein's representative, the Thomas More Society, to explain that the store associate's decision to decline to print the order was in no way based on religious beliefs, but in fact that it contains certain words and phrases that could be construed as graphic or advocates the persecution of groups of people, which is a violation of the company's policy and print policy.
So what's going to happen to the employee?
Upon a more detailed review, we have determined that the content of Ms. Goldstein's flyer is not a clear violation
thank you.
of the company's policy. Quote, we sincerely apologize to Ms. Goldstein for her experience, and our initial reaction was not at all related to her religious beliefs. We invite her to return to Office Depot if she still wishes to print the flyer. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Is she going to go back and have them print it?
No, she already got her the flyer printed from a friend of hers who has a printer in Des Plaines, and that's who she should use from now on, and that's who everybody should use from now on, because Maria Goldstein shouldn't go back to Office Depot, and nor should anyone else who believes in intellectual freedom and free expression in a pluralistic society, because clearly Office Depot should be the University of Office Depot, because it operates like one of these brain-dead college campuses.
What's going to happen to the employee? Are they going to be suspended? Does it mention anything about repercussions for him or her?
It wasn't like this associate refused to print a flyer advertising the Gay Pride Parade. That would have been a terminable offense.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you at risk of identity theft? Yes. A new identity theft happens every 2 seconds. Does giving out your social security number increase risk? Yes. Putting personal information out there increases risk. If you forget your significant other's birthday, are you at risk of getting the silent treatment? Probably. No one likes having their birthday forgotten. But it won't increase the risk of identity theft. Unfortunately, things like shopping and breaches will. That's why LifeLock goes beyond free services that simply monitor credit, from detecting threats to helping resolve issues if your identity is ever compromised. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but LifeLock has proprietary technology to detect threats and a dedicated resolution staff to help restore your good name. Is getting the silent treatment fun? No, but it's a walk in the park compared to having your identity stolen. Protection starts at $9.99 a month. For 10% off, go to lifelock.com and use promo code NEWS.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, then you need to call David Hochberg, Vice President of Pearl Mortgage. Jack, a financial planner at the area's largest local bank, income $350K a year, called to do a cash-out refinance. David helped Jack combine his first loan, HELOC, and take out $80,000 to pay his kid's private school. David asked Jack why he didn't use the supposed mortgage experts at his bank, and Jack told David he trusted him more than anyone in his bank's mortgage department. If you're thinking of calling a big bank for your mortgage, ask yourself this question. If a financial planner making $350,000 a year doesn't trust the mortgage experts at his bank, why should you? If you or somebody you know is looking to do a cash-out refi, call David now at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. You can email him, david@perldavid.com, or visit his website, am560david.com. That website, am560david.com. David's helped thousands of AM560 listeners, and he'll help you. Call David now, 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA NMLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com/licensing.
AM560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:46, we'll have the 25th anniversary of a sound that has enriched your life.
Wait till you hear it. And then David Gregory has found faith in Stephen Colbert, never lost his. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello again to Mike Scott.
Sunrise in Chicago, 57 degrees. Authorities in western Kentucky are searching for a suspect who shot and killed a Kentucky state trooper. Suspect's vehicle found abandoned in the median of I-24 in Lyon County last night. 4 firefighters injured, 1 person dead in a Northern California wildfire that blew up on Sunday.
They're both being fanned by incredibly dry conditions and gusty winds that we've seen. While temperatures this weekend have been cooler, it's the winds that have picked up, and that's what continues to challenge us today.
Daniel Berlan is with CAL FIRE. The Valley Fire is burning about 100 miles north of San Francisco. Shattered windows, teens behind bars, no major break yet in the case of the Arizona freeway shootings near Phoenix. Classes at Seattle's public schools canceled for a 4th day because of a teacher's strike. 2 planes clipped each other while on the ground at LAX. No one hurt. Officials say that an arriving United Airlines flight and departing Alaskan Airlines plane bumped last night while maneuvering between terminals. A man is dead after a house exploded on the far south side. It happened early this morning in the 10,000 block of South Morgan. An investigation is underway. Community mourning after an off-duty Chicago Ridge police officer was killed when the car he was riding in was struck by a wrong-way driver. It happened Sunday in the northbound lanes of the Tri-State Tollway near Oak Brook. Philadelphia beat the Cubs 7-4. Twins over the White Sox and Chris Sale 7-zip. And Green Bay topped the Bears 31-23. The news, a service of the Illinois Partners for Clean Air. Avoid traffic by riding Metro, CTA, or Pace and roll comfortably into town for classical music, contemporary dining, or both with the money you'll save. Learn to breathe easy and save easy with Illinois Partners for Clean Air at cleantheair.org. 6:34 and a check of traffic and weather next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager says something's got to give with the economy.
When are we going to pay the piper for all of this debt? Something is going to give, and it's in large measure because of terrible ideas. Like government can shape an economy. We have the highest corporate taxes in the world. Then we wonder why companies do business outside of the United States.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Disclaimers at cnctaxrelief.com. Do you owe back taxes to the IRS? If so, you may qualify for a special tax program so you won't make any payments to the IRS. Listen carefully. If you qualify for the CNC tax program, you won't make any payments to the IRS while in this program. Get ready, as we're going to give you the most important number you may ever need to finally end your IRS nightmare. This toll-free number should only be used if you can't afford to pay any money to the IRS. Call 800-912-8565 now for free information and to see if you qualify for the CNC tax program. Once you're accepted, the IRS must stop all harassing collection activities. Imagine no threatening phone calls, no wage garnishments or bank levies, and no more monthly payments to the IRS. Just call 800-912-8565 now to find out if you qualify for the CNC tax program. Remember, you won't make any payments to the IRS while in this program. Call 800-912-8565 for free information now. That's 800-912-8565. 800-912-8565. Again, 800-912-8565.
Here's Dr. Howard, formulator of Balance of Nature, an all-natural, 100% organic fruit and vegetable supplement.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Get real today with Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
It is 6:37, and in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The outbound Kennedy has delays from Armitage to O'Hare. It's 46 minutes downtown to the airport. Westbound 190 is jammed from the Kennedy to the terminal area. Inbound 26 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Edens 21 minutes, Lycoque to Montrose. Outbound 19, the Eisenhower. 38 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 33. Stevenson 42 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57 19 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford 21. The northbound Tri-State has several slow spots between 95th and the Hinsdale Oasis. Slow 290 to North Avenue. Adams Tollway, slow Elmhurst Road to the Kennedy. Traffic service of Autism Speaks in the Ad Council. As a parent, can't help but look at your child and dream about the future. While you're dreaming, consider the odds that your child will be diagnosed with autism are 1 in 68. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Sunny and breezy today, a high near 77. 52 at O'Hare, 58 along the lake, 51 in Lansing. Your next news update is at 7, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
And now it's time for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, Stephen Colbert and I have a lot in common, Amy.
Oh, what's that? You both can dunk?
No, I don't know if he can dunk or ever could. Northwestern grads.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. Congratulations, your team won this weekend.
Yeah, a big win over Eastern Illinois.
Huge. Monumental.
In addition to that, we're both in character.
Yes,
this
all
is
the
not
time.
the real me.
Oh,
right?
please.
Right.
When the real you shows up, you just let me know.
Yeah. So Colbert, interesting. He sat down for this interview on his faith. Really interesting.
Out of character?
Both. He was in character, and then he was who he actually is. He sat down with Father Thomas Rosica, who's the media attaché to the Holy See's press office, and Father Rosica is also the CEO of Salt and Light Television, which is based in Toronto. And he talked about, Colbert did, his faith and devotion, and he also talked about his character, and he was in, his character on the Colbert Report, not who he is on the Late Show, because he's authentically himself on the Late Show, according to him. So here's Stephen Colbert, not just talking about his character, but in character, classic Colbert Report, which is why he rose to prominence.
I am intrigued to look at that previous character because it's a character, obviously, that's captivated the imagination of the world.
What do you want to know about him, Father? Who's asking and why? Okay? Just because you got the dog collar on doesn't mean you know more about the Catholic Church than I do. Do you understand me? Are we clear on that?
I learned a couple weeks ago, you know a hell of a lot about the Catholic Church.
I know one or two things. I'm not going to say I'm a Basilian. You're a Basilian, right?
Basilian, yeah.
Saint Basil?
We're many. Bazillions.
Okay. Saint Basil?
Saint Basil.
I'm no fan. Okay?
Why?
Saint Arugula. That's the saint.
Saint Arugula.
That's the saint I worship. Okay? Delicious.
Saint Arugula.
With a little Saint Pine Nut, little Saint Reggiano.
Saint Grappa.
Delicious.
Too, yeah.
Saint Grappa, I have worshipped. I have worshipped at the porcelain throne of Saint Grappa.
So it's funny, and it just shows you how quick Colbert is. He is very quick-witted. There's no question about
This
it.
isn't sacrilegious by any means.
No, it's fun.
Have fun with saints. Make them up too.
Fun with Father Rosica. I mean, it's what you do when you sit down with the attaché to the Holy See. You cut it up a little bit. But then Colbert talked about his character on the Colbert Report, and it's kind of a nice lead-in to his honest discussion about his faith.
That guy we like to describe him as, he was a pundit, first of all. Yeah. And pundits are creatures of pure opinion, not necessarily fact, but feelings. What they feel is true. And we like to describe him as a well-intentioned, which was really important to me, well-intentioned, poorly informed, not a very curious person, high status, in other words, he assumed the high ground in every argument, idiot. And the idiot is kind of the hardest part of it because it sounds pejorative to say idiot, but idiocy is actually, or foolishness is another way to say it. A fool is really a hard thing to consistently achieve.
And then he talks about being a fool for Christ. So this is Colbert talking honestly about his faith and how his faith operates while he's trying to be this entertainer. It's very interesting. I mean, it's a thoughtful Stephen Colbert.
Faith ultimately can't be argued. Faith has to be felt. And hopefully you can still feel your faith fully and let your mind have a logical life of its own, and they do not defy each other, but complement each other. Because logic itself, I don't think, for me, and Aquinas might say differently, logic itself will not lead me to God, but my love of the world and my gratitude toward it will. And so hopefully I can use my mind to make my jokes and not deny my love for God at the same time.
It's very interesting because, I mean, as expressions of faith in the public arena are under increasing assault, it's interesting to hear from Stephen Colbert, particularly where he operates in a universe that, generally speaking, with some notable exceptions, despises people of faith, ridicules people of faith. And I'm talking about Hollywood, of course. So it was interesting to hear from Colbert. He's a very sober, serious person. You may not like the Colbert Report. He spent a lot of time, obviously, it was like lampooning O'Reilly and lampooning Fox News Channel. But I don't think Fox News Channel is above reproach.
No,
I don't think they're above parody. I think a lot of stuff that you see on Fox News Channel is good parody fodder.
Good fodder for Saturday Night Live, which opens their season this Saturday, which I cannot wait.
Now, really? You can't wait?
Oh, my gosh. They're going to lampoon Fox News Channel, that first debate. They're going to have fun with the GOP candidates, Stan.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
I mean, it's fun when you have a good cast that can really do good parody of, the political debates and stuff. I mean, you think back in the heyday, for me at least, with Dana Carvey and Phil Hartman. I don't know if they have anybody that talented. The guy who does Denzel Washington. What's his name again? The guy who does the Denzel Washington impersonation. He is hilarious. He's a great impersonator. But so on that, so one high-profile person talking about their faith, and then David Gregory of all people. Gangly, liberal David Gregory had a piece over the weekend in the Wall Street Journal talking about how his faith steadied him after his humbling loss. He recounted his interactions with George W. Bush, where George W. Bush would ask him, Gregory, how's your faith? Noting that Gregory was exploring his faith. He's Jewish. His wife is a Methodist. But that he had been exploring his faith, and then that came to a header when Gregory was terminated as the host of Meet the Press because, he was terrible.
Well, but also what NBC did, it was a painful, slow roll. They took his wife into counseling and his children and friends and neighbors to try and figure out what's wrong with David Gregory and why the show is not being successful. And I am not making this up. And they took him into counseling as well, just to try and get him to be as effective as Russell was.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. I mean, it's Russert, excuse me, Russert.
No, I mean, nobody's going to be Tim Russert. But Gregory was so off-putting. We used to, and another show I used to host, we used to have regular hits with him, but he was so thin-skinned and so haughty and so bad at his job. He was an uninteresting interviewer. And he was such an advocate of one point of view where Russert would put both sides through the ringer. And that's really what the job is, put both sides through the ringer, challenge both sides. Well, David Gregory was in the tank for the left, as just like Stephanopoulos is, which makes him an uninteresting interviewer and, Clinton Foundation donor zero. But Gregory's piece in the Wall Street Journal, which I'll direct your attention to, it's interesting just to kind of read his progression in terms of exploring his faith. He talks about his Bible teacher, a Jewish educator named Erica Brown, who asked him the question, what would you do if you lost it all? Who would you be? And he talks about knowing that soon enough, because after he got canned, he had to figure out that what you do is not who you are. and what you do is important, any job, but it's not the definition of who you are as a person.
But a lot of people tie their names to their careers.
No
I mean, that's
question
why
about
it's so
it.
hard for football players when, that career-ending injury to separate yourself and to still remember you're a child of God and God made you who you are, not your football career.
David Gregory writes, "It has been faith that steadied me. The humbling loss turned out to be a gift because I've seen how many fresh opportunities for growth and happiness await, even if it hasn't gone according to my plan. Most plainly, I understand joy, pain, and even in personal failure, God is close." It's a pretty good read, although it's a slight critique.
Because you got one. What is it?
Well, it's a slight critique. I mean,
What? Did he convert?
No, it's just that the way this reads to me is that God is like his professional life coach, and it's kind of limiting to me. I think if David Gregory was still on Meet the Press, or if David Gregory got another high-profile gig, I'm not so sure that what he is kind of cathartically recounting in this op-ed would be where he's at. So I don't know. I'm not questioning his faith, Donald Trump. Not questioning
At
his
least
faith.
he has
just
faith.
Just asking. Just asking the question. Quickly, Mark and DePlaine, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Nice pronunciation, by the way.
Thank you.
The thing is, he's a liberal, Dan. I mean, and
who's he?
Colbert is a liberal.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's great that we're having a discussion about faith in the public square and talking about it, because we're so shot down all the time when we try to discuss this stuff. But Colbert's worldview, is from that liberal bent. And you have to use that filter when you listen to him about anything.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Mark. I mean, I agree with that, but here's the thing I would say: when you have a person of the left who at least has a deep and abiding faith, there is hope. When you have people, frankly, left or right, who believe they're their own God, that's when you have someone who is truly lost.
That is the voice of God, sir.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, celebrating the silver anniversary of a sound. You'll hear it here. But first, here's your forecast. Today, mostly sunny, breezy, a high of 77 degrees. The rest of the week looks terrific. We're going to have a string of 80-degree days and plenty of sunshine. Let's see if there's any sun shining on the roadways. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Depends where you are, Amy. Good morning. As usual in Chicago, and on Monday morning, it's pretty much always heavy on the outbound Kennedy going to O'Hare. The delays are from Armitage to the airport. It's 48 minutes from downtown to O'Hare, and add some delays on westbound 190 as well from the Kennedy to the terminal area. Inbound 30 minutes O'Hare to downtown. The Edens, it's 21 minutes either way between Lake Hook and Montrose. The Eisenhower, 42 minutes Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound 33. The Stevenson getting heavier. It's now 46 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. The northbound Tri-State, slow 95th to LaGrange Road. From the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis at 290 to Grand Avenue. Adams Tollway delays, 25 to 59. Then Elmhurst Road at the Kennedy. Reagan Tollway really jamming up now from 31 to 59. We're late last week. Some new ramp closures kicked in at 59. Well, that's a factor. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Now it's time for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report, brought to you by the Mutual Fund Store.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Economic reports, corporate developments, and the Fed's upcoming announcement on interest rates, all driving action on Wall Street. Those stories next.
Honey, I'm really worried about our retirement funds.
Oh, me too. We lost so much value in the recession in the stock market. I'm worried we won't have enough to retire.
Jim next door told me that he had set up a new kind of IRA with a Gold Silver Group. He said how simple and safe it was. It's a private storage IRA, and we could have real gold and silver in our hands.
Really? You mean we can actually see it and touch it?
Absolutely. Jim said we could have all the benefits of an IRA to help build our retirement income. Bottom line, we would own a real tangible asset, and we would have the security of knowing we're protected no matter what the economy does. What do you think?
I think we need to find out how to get our own private storage IRA. We need to call the Gold Silver Group right now.
Are you ready to protect your future? Call 800-425-6588 now to find out how easy and safe it is to set up a private storage IRA with Gold Silver Group, and find out how you can qualify for up to $700 in free silver. All transactions are privately delivered and fully insured. Please call us now. 800-425-6588. 800-425-6588.
Investors hoping to build on last week's solid gains in the stock market. The Dow Jones Industrials posting the strongest weekly performance since March. No major reports today on our economy, so look for corporate developments and reports on the Chinese and European economies to influence trading from the opening bell. Investors reacting to a weaker than expected reading on industrial production in China, while retail sales rose slightly more than expected. The bond market in focus ahead of the Fed's two-day meeting on monetary policy and interest rates. Bond yields ended lower Friday. Many investors betting mixed reports on the economy will prevent the Fed from announcing an interest rate hike Thursday. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
I can tolerate a lot of things. I tolerate the annoying way my son-in-law Tom says schedule. I tolerate my buddy's weird snort laugh. I even tolerate my neighbor who hasn't returned my tools. I'm looking at you, Mike. I can see my wrench from here. But as I've gotten older, the one thing I can't tolerate is risk surrounding my retirement. I'm not about to risk missing out on the things I've always wanted to do, or worse yet, risk having to go back to work. I need to do everything I can to make sure that my financial plan stays the course. I won't tolerate anything less than that.
At the Mutual Fund Store, we understand that every investor is unique and has different levels of risk they can tolerate. Let us help you find an investing strategy that fits your needs and comfort level. Schedule a free portfolio review with us today.
Hi, I'm Doug Bash with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
AM 560, The Answer.
Confused.
Dan, Amy, that sound, Amy, which has enriched our lives and Sam Waterston's pockets, is celebrating its 25th anniversary.
Wow, what does one give someone or sound for its 25th anniversary?
Another season, 42 spin-offs. Yeah, and I understand
42 spin-offs.
You know, Special Victims Unit and
Special Victims Unit, New York, LA,
CSI, and I don't know, all of them. They all kind of. It replaced What You Talking About, Willis, for me, as the iconic sound of a generation. Mike Post, who created the sound, said he sampled a jail door slamming, a couple other things, this clunk, clunk, ching, ching, chong, chong thing.
Wait, you mean this?
Yes, that, whatever you think it is. Yeah, it seems to have stuck 25 years in. It's known the world over. And I note during the break, you mentioned that you were the inspiration for a Law & Order episode.
What? Yes, Dan. It was called Season 18.
Guilty.
Excuse me, I'm not done yet, Your Honor. It was entitled Submission, and it aired March 12th, 2008. Not that I remember, but my Wikipedia page remembers. And it borrowed events pertaining to my story. And it actually, Laura Flynn Boyle played me. She was a news reporter who was swimming with somebody whose wife was missing. But she ended up, in this episode, being the killer.
That's interesting because the symmetry of it, because you both dated Jack Nicholson, you and Laura Flynn Boyle, so it seems like a good choice.
She's from the area.
And then you both turned out to be the killer. That's weird.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The movie Captive is a powerful true story of faith over fear.
Police looking for Brian Nichols.
A man on the run.
You scream again and I will have to kill you.
A woman held captive.
My name is Ashley.
In your darkest hour, who will you turn to?
God, please help me.
What is that?
The book, The Purpose-Driven Life.
Read it to me.
God expects you to make the most of what you have been given.
Could you forgive me?
I don't know. Maybe God can.
Captive. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. In theaters Friday. For group sales and tickets, visit CaptiveTheMovie.com.
Oh, woke up feeling refreshed and energized this morning because of that story. No, because I slept on a MyPillow. It conforms to your neck and back. It helps if you have chronic neck and back pains, insomnia, allergies, and a lot of us have allergies right now. So if they're bad, just throw it in the washer and dryer and you're good to go that very same night. And it helps keep its shape to give you the support where you need it most. That's why it was named the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. American made, tens of thousands of satisfied customers, and you could be one too by simply going to mypillow.com. Type Amy in the promo code. 2 pillows for the price of one. That's right, 2 pillows for the price of one. Or you can call the 800 number, 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
This is an announcement for all people who want to take a risk-free challenge to whiten their teeth in 5 minutes using clinically proven power swabs. This risk-free challenge is for people whose smile has been yellowed by coffee, tea, or smoking. It's so effective, we challenge you to try it for 5 minutes to see how white your smile could be. If lines are busy, try again. Dial 1-800-663-1490. That's 1-800-663-1490. 1-800-663-1490.
Summer is here, and your business can't afford mechanical issues with its HVAC system. You also don't want just anyone doing the job. When you want the best trained and skilled team, you want Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading full-service mechanical HVAC and refrigeration provider. Each year, Air Comfort invests in ongoing staff training to keep up with changes in technology and products. Why is training so important? Because Air Comfort understands that doing the job the right way the first time is just the beginning of a long-term relationship with its clients. That's why Air Comfort is a proud supporter of the UA Standard of Excellence and is certified as a star contractor by MSCA. With more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby to serve your HVAC needs. For more than 80 years, Air Comfort has earned the trust of thousands of customers with businesses just like yours. To find out more, call 708-345-1900 or visit them online at aircomfort.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Previewing Wednesday night's POTUS debate.
And also meet the new Miss America and why her Q&A segment is making news this morning. We'll have it for you. But first, let's go back into the newsroom for the real news. Here is Mike Scott.
An off-duty police officer from Chicago Ridge killed in a wrong-way crash. Chicago Fire is investigating after a house explodes on the south side on South Morgan. We'll have the latest on that investigation. One lawmaker in the state wants to bring back the death penalty. Bears struggle against the Packers, and it continues this morning with a loss the first weekend of the NFL. Cubs and Sox were losers over the weekend. Sunny and breezy in your forecast with a high of 77. Complete look at your weather forecast after Fox News. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. She's back to work.
I am no hero.
And Kim Davis adds,
I don't want to be in the spotlight, and I certainly don't want to be a whipping post.
So the county clerk who was jailed for not letting gay couples get married says,
I am forced to fashion a remedy that reconciles my conscience with Judge Bunning's orders.
So Davis herself will not authorize marriage licenses for gay couples, and a few moments ago she said that she will not stop her deputy clerks from issuing them without her signature. Also in Kentucky, there is a manhunt for
Joseph Johnson Shanks.
Police say he killed a state trooper last night, gunning down Joseph Ponder after a traffic stop.
And that is when Johnson Shanks took off, leading the officer on a police chase. The chase coming to an abrupt end when we are told that Johnson Shanks slammed on his brakes, causing Ponder to crash into the back of his car.
Fox's Ainsley Earhart says that's when he opened fire, then ran off on foot. European ministers are meeting today to figure out how to handle an overwhelming migrant crisis as refugees keep flowing in from Syria and other countries. Hungary may try to keep them out. Fox News Radio's Simon Owen is live on the border with Serbia.
Dave, there's an old train line here, these days mainly used by Syrian refugees and other migrants as they trek across the border and through Europe. It's about 85 degrees under a hot sun. Families keep passing by, babies through to elderly people in wheelchairs. But the talk here is that Hungary is about to close this crossing point. It's the final gap in a 100-mile-long razor wire fence. And reports here suggest the fence could be completed tonight. Hungary, one of a number of European countries struggling to cope with record numbers of arrivals. Dave?
Simon, thousands of people are evacuees in Northern California fleeing a fast-moving wildfire that's burned down around 400 homes in Middletown and Hidden Valley Lake areas.
I grabbed a couple of photo albums, and you think you're going to be prepared, and you're not.
One person was killed. Another fire burned down 81 homes. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Sunshine this morning, 56 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. A man is dead after a home explodes on the far south side. Fire officials say the blaze broke out early this morning in the 10,000 block of South Morgan. Crews found a man unresponsive after investigating the explosion and putting the blaze out. No other injuries were reported, and investigation again is underway to find out the cause of that explosion. A community is remembering an off-duty police officer killed this weekend when the car he was riding in was struck by a wrong-way driver. Authorities say the vehicle was driving southbound early Sunday in the northbound lanes of the Tri-State Tollway when it smashed head-on with another vehicle near Oak Brook. Chicago Ridge Police Chief Robert Pisnarski says Officer Stephen Smith will be missed.
Steve was always very outgoing with the officers. They had a lot of fun with Steve. Steve was a great person. He's going to be truly missed by our officers.
Smith was pronounced dead at the scene. The drivers of both vehicles left hospitalized. As of last night, no charges have been filed. Search is over after the remains of a toddler were found in the Garfield Park Lagoon. Chicago police announced that crews stopped draining that lagoon yesterday afternoon. Various items were recovered, but no additional body parts were found. Retired Chicago police officer is being accused of threatening those investigating the death of Fox Lake police officer Joseph Glinowitz. Lake County sheriffs say a person claiming to be that retired officer called the coroner's office Friday afternoon and threatened to harm all investigators unless they declare Glinowitz's death a suicide. Joseph Battaglia is being held at the Lake County Jail on $100,000 bond. Chicago sports. Philly beat the Cubs 7-4. Twins over the White Sox 7-0. Bears beaten by Green Bay 31-23. The news a service of Unbound. Poverty doesn't discriminate. It feeds on the forgotten. At Unbound, they believe in the collective wisdom of society's oldest and most vulnerable. Providing sponsorship for the elderly is just one way Unbound is different at unbound.org. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity thinks Hillary Clinton has more to worry about than her campaign.
If they find those lost 33,000 emails, the one she's deleted, you're going to not only find classified information, the whole Benghazi issue is going to be brought to an entire new level. And instead of worrying about being elected president, her biggest fear is going to be how much time she may have to spend in jail.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Where do more than 2 million people go each day to do their best work? They go to Regis. Regis has beautifully designed tech-powered offices and co-working spaces with full admin support. Let Regis manage the details for you so you can focus on your business. Call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES to get up and running fast, without the hassle. Join the 2 million people who have found a better way to work. And right now, get a free officer meeting room for a day when you call 1-800-OFFICES. Regis, here to help you grow.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And J.D. Power ranked Bayer's portfolio of meters highest in customer satisfaction with blood glucose meters. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Meijer.
7:05, time to check the climate of your business with Air Comfort. And time to check the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The Edens Expressway runs 22 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. The Kennedy is now 42 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 46, inbound Eisenhower. 45 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 34. Stevenson, 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford Freeway, the entrance from Stony Island is blocked after an earlier truck crash. Ford Freeway is 28 minutes from 8094 to Ryan. On Tri-States, though, 95th to LaGrange Road. From the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis and 290 to Grand Avenue. Adams Tollway, slow 25 to 59 and Elmhurst Road to the Kennedy. Reagan Tollway jammed 31 to 59th and slow 83 to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial, slow Boughton to the Reagan Tollway and Army Trail to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. The latest now with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Mostly sunny and breezy today with wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour in the afternoon, high getting up to 77. Then it will be a partly cloudy night tonight with a low 61. A mostly sunny day tomorrow with a high of 80. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
Sunshine and 52 at O'Hare, 58 along the lake. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Storming Iowa, Marco Rubio, Rand Paul, and Scott Walker tailgating at the Super Bowl of Iowa college football. Iowa versus Iowa State.
A brand new Quinnipiac University poll putting Dr. Ben Carson in second place with 21% in Iowa. Only Donald Trump is ahead of him, the Donald polling at 27%.
And the problem is that there's an illusion in this country and in the Republican base that you can govern by screaming. That Donald Trump, Donald Blowhard. Donald Trump.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. So, what do you want to see on during Wednesday night's debate? What do you expect we'll see during Wednesday night's debate? 312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line, 646-36DA. Turnkey.pro text line. It's going to be important. This is going to be another ratings bonanza because you've got the ratings machine. That would be Donald Trump, the self-described ratings machine, Donald Trump.
They call me the ratings machine.
Let's see. Center stage. Carly Fiorina center stage. And a lot has happened between the last debate and this one coming up Wednesday night in terms of jockeying for position in the polls. We have one less candidate with Rick Perry's announcement end of last week. And we have some new combatants in terms of challenging or not challenging Donald Trump. Bobby Jindal, who's in, kind of hashtags right now in terms of the polls. But Ben Carson and Trump have gone at it. Fiorina and Trump have gone at it, not directly, but in competing news cycles. And it's going to be interesting to see them on the same stage, hand-to-hand combat.
Well, Trump said that, he's not intimidated by her. He's looking forward to sharing the stage with Carly Fiorina.
Speaking to Republican insiders, GOP members, they say that if anybody's going to land a clean blow on you at the debate on Wednesday, it's going to be Carly Fiorina. Are you worried about her at all?
No, I'm not. I think she's a very nice woman. I'm not at all. I think she'll do well. I asked that she be on the debate because I think she should.
Yeah,
that's why, because he asked Dan. He wanted her there. That's why she's there.
Yeah, he's responsible for Carly Fiorina. Created her out of whole cloth. Here is Trump on Jimmy Fallon on Friday night talking about the debate, kind of responding to Fallon's question as to whether or not Trump prepares for the debate, what he expects from the debate, what he's going to do during the debate.
Well, because he's going to have to make news somehow. Or else they're actually going to have to focus on issues. I mean, he's going to have to rip on somebody or make another degrading comment toward women to make news.
I'm not so sure about that. I think he made news on Fallon and he didn't do any of those things. I think the public, or at least and a certain percentage of the GOP primary electorate, a plurality right now, is kind of fascinated by Trump. Here's what he had to say about Wednesday night's debate.
But who would be the person at the debates that you're targeting? Who's your biggest threat?
I just think in terms of targeting any voter, that's what I'm targeting. But I want them to vote. I want them to love Trump, and I want them to know I'll do a great job. As far as candidates, to me, they're all the same.
Yeah.
They're really all the same.
Okay.
Look at
He doesn't even know they're not all the same.
Well, but
doesn't even know where they stand on different policies and different issues.
Well, but from Trump's perspective, I mean, this is a marketing exercise from his perspective.
Okay.
He wants to cast them all as the same. So it's actually a shrewd political answer that he's not used to giving. But that was a shrewd political answer. I'm targeting the voters. I have a message for the voters. All the other candidates are the same. And again, the response from Jimmy Fallon's audience, applause line. That's an applause line from a Republican candidate for president before Jimmy Fallon's live audience. It's interesting.
But
It
they
really
are
is
in New
interesting.
York. I mean,
Well, so what? Do you think that was a bunch of Republican primary voters in that audience?
no,
I doubt
wasn't.
it.
No. And there's some Democrats that I know that are going to vote for Trump. They're pulling for Trump, and they will vote for him over Hillary.
One person not voting for Trump, although I don't know that he is eligible to vote. But I mean, in this country, who cares? It's not like we worry about those things. Salman Rushdie.
Salman Rushdie.
Remember Salman Rushdie,
Yeah.
author of the Satanic Verses, contract put out on his life by the Ayatollah. Salman Rushdie was on the snark fest that is Bill Maher's show on HBO.
I can't stomach that show.
I concede the point.
Thank you. So we agree on something.
And here's Salman Rushdie, someone who is targeted for elimination because of intolerance of diversity of opinion. Here's what he had to say, trying to be cute, I suppose. Wasn't cute, and frankly, it was embarrassing that Linda Chavez, Bush's HUD secretary, was on the Chavez, HHS? Wait, what was Chavez? HUD secretary.
HUD secretary, yeah.
She was on the panel, and she said nothing. She laughed along with this. This is why the show is so despicable, as you have erstwhile conservatives go on the show and they yuck along rather than stand up to Bill Maher and these other morons on the panel. And Chavez didn't do that, unfortunately. Here's Salman Rushdie on Trump.
Because there are plenty of things that upset me.
Right.
And see above Donald Trump.
Right, yeah, right.
That upsets me, but that doesn't mean I think actually it sort of does mean I think he should be, eradicated. But I try hard to pretend I don't think that.
That's hilarious.
Funny.
Those kind of statements are just buoy the Trump candidacy, especially considering the quarter from whence they come. Salman Rushdie, David Brooks, another deep thinker, Obama's favorite Republican. David Brooks, Republican. Give me a break. But David Brooks from the New York Times on Meet the Press over the weekend, saying this about kind of Donald Trump and the base of the Republican Party. Because he's a Republican, so he's got a real handle on this.
It's like a mutiny, not a campaign. And the problem is that there's an illusion in this country and in the Republican base that you can govern by screaming. That Donald Trump, Donald Blowhard. Donald Trump.
Twitter today. You just melted the internet.
Yeah, Donald Trump can just scream and somehow govern the country. But there's a democracy. You need a coalition. We have a very tough legislative system. And you got to actually have craftsmen. And there's insufficient respect for that right now among the Carson and Trump supporters.
Yeah. It's David Brooks. He's right in the first part of what he said, that it's more of a mutiny than a campaign. But he diagnoses the effect rather than the cause, because it's so much easier to disagree with the response. I disagree with the response. I disagree that Trump is the vehicle for the legitimate grievances that the Republican primary electorate, and frankly, it's well beyond that, the legitimate grievances that people who play by the rules in this country have. I see Trump as the wrong vehicle to express those frustrations. But for David Brooks to say that people think you can govern by screaming is, again, to kind of dismiss people that are upset, people that have been hurt, people that are frustrated by the feckless leadership of the Republican Party at the national level, certainly. Even Chris Christie over the weekend, where have the proposals been that we said we were going to, that the Republican leadership promised all these Republican Senate candidates when they ran for office?
Well, let me just start with, in your announcement speech, you said something like this. You said, we have no choice but to work together. And it seems to be a message that isn't resonating right now with Republican primary voters who aren't interested in compromise and coming together. They're interested in the case of Congress, maybe burning the place down.
Well, I think that's why they want working together, because they want to burn Congress down because it doesn't do anything. I mean, let's face it. I was out on the trails, a lot in 2014, helping governor's candidates and Senate candidates to get elected. What have these guys done, these Senate candidates, new senators, that they promised to do? We don't have tax reform on the president's desk. We don't have a repeal and replacement of Obamacare on the desk. We don't have any of the things that they ran on the desk. Make the president veto them. And this is why people can't stand Congress.
And this is what David Brooks doesn't understand. Chris Christie's precisely right.
He is.
Precisely right.
But what happened to Chris Christie in his campaign? I mean, why is he not making waves? Here, I didn't like Chris Christie at the beginning because I thought he was a big bully. And then you have Donald Trump come in and he completely big-footed Chris Christie. Well, and he's a bigger bully.
Well,
Is it just because he's an outsider and he's not an established politician? That's why people like Donald Trump.
I think there's a lot to that. Ann Carson, Ann Fiorina, and Ted Cruz, who's the kind of most anti-establishment elected official in the field. Those are the four candidates that are frankly dominating the race right now. Trump came in and he sucked a lot of the oxygen out of the room, but not so much oxygen that there isn't space for other candidates that are ascendant right now. And I just mentioned three of them. So it is worth noting, and it's something that mystifies kind of Eastern establishment elites like David Brooks. And it's the David Brookses of the world who Trump is running against and saying, as Victor Davis Hanson described, Trump effectively saying to the public, I know all these people, and they're even worse than you think. And I'll tell you what, it has great appeal. It has great appeal to me. I mean, just think about it, thinking about this at the local level. I was at an event in Park Ridge late last week, and Republican state rep, since Illinois is the bad example of Republican leadership the world over, in super minority status in a state that's been destroyed by Chicago Democrats, Republican state rep who's been there for a while in Springfield gets up and says, you know what the problem in Springfield is?
What?
We have too many Democrats.
Oh, it's just in.
Yeah, boy. Okay, check, please. But it's the same thing that the David Brookses of the world do. They're not responsible, and you diagnose an effect rather than the cause. A representative, why is it? Why is it that we have too many Democrats in Springfield? Why are Republicans in the super minority? Do you ever examine that? And what Trump is saying and other candidates are saying, and even Chris Christie recognizes with the riff that we just played from his appearance on Meet the Press over the weekend, is that Republican leadership, it's true in the state level here, with the exception of Rauner to this point, and it's certainly true, largely true of Boehner and McConnell, they are living the unexamined political lives. And that's why their lives are in jeopardy.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine today. Just a gorgeous day for your back to work Monday or back to school. And happy New Year, Rosh Hashanah, for our Jewish friends out there. Today you're going to have a high of 77 degrees. And then tomorrow, mostly sunny and pleasant, a high of 80. Let's get the travel times, and here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy. Eastbound Reagan Tollway, it's really jammed from Randall Road to 59, where new ramp closures kicked in at the end of last week. And it's also slow 83 to the Tri-State. Heavy delays on the northbound side of 294, 95th to 75th. Stevenson to around 31st, and then from the Cermak Toll to Grand Avenue. The Edens inbound is 24 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. Kennedy, 45 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 42. The Eisenhower, 53 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 33. Stevenson, 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan is 20 minutes, 95th to downtown, inbound Bishop Ford. The entrance from Stony Island still closed after an earlier truck crash. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Speaking of ChicagoRadioDeals.com, they want you to take some time for yourself to relax, renew, recharge, and here's a perfect way to lower your stress level and bring balance to your life. Make a visit to the Primal Ocean Salt Cave in LaGrange. Your stress begins to disappear when you step into the pink Himalayan salt cave or float on a bed of water that envelops you in color and warmth. Make time for deep relaxation in the aqua massage bed or feel renewed with the Ionic Detox Foot Bath. Experience it now with packages that include one salt cave session plus one, thank you, either aqua massage or aqua escape session or Ionic Detox Foot Bath. This stress relief package, normally $65, only $40 at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Primal Ocean Salt Cave spa treatments are a great way to take a vacation from the everyday. I'm sorry. Plus, you stay fully clothed. I don't know how they do this, and dry the entire time. You'll love how calm and refreshed you'll feel. So if you haven't tried this yet, do it now. The Primal Ocean Salt Cave deals are very limited. For more healthy deals, just visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
You know what I love about summer? Baseball. You know what I love about baseball? It's a game of probability. You know what I love about my team? Not much, because baseball is a game of probability. The odds of our starting pitcher lasting 3 innings? Slim. The likelihood we'll be mathematically eliminated before July? High. Okay, so maybe I'm not a fan of the probability of my team going above 500. But I am a fan of the fact that with some planning and a little help, I was able to influence the probability that I could retire and stay retired. Maybe our pitcher should consider retirement. Just saying.
Ready to make the game-changing decision to put a plan in place for your retirement? The Mutual Fund Store can help you do just that. Connect with us today for a free review of your investment portfolio or a second opinion on your investments. The person you'll be having a cup of coffee with is right here.
Hi, I'm Steve Check with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
Merlin 200,000-mile shops are offering car owners 40 hints for money-saving motoring.
Hint number 17.
The way to get car repair clout is to form an alliance.
So Merlin invites you to join our Drive for 200,000 Alliance.
First, it'll get you discounts on all our products and services.
Plus, you store up cash, which is deposited in a personal Merlin savings account.
You can then use your savings account to purchase bigger things like name brand tires and maintenance services.
So, join Merlin's Drive for 200,000-mile alliance.
Clout is what it's all about.
At Merlin, more life for you and your car.
It's shocking, but winter is just around the corner, and your shocks and struts play an important role in delivering satisfactory steering, stopping, and stability. Visit Merlin for a free suspension check, and right now you can buy 4 shocks or struts for the price of 3 by mail-in rebate with Monroe's Shocktober promotion. You can visit merlins.com for locations, coupons, and to make an appointment.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, you know, it really is somewhat of a struggle to communicate with some Trump supporters. Not all, but we just spent 8 minutes talking largely about Donald Trump and explaining his popularity. And I get this text from 708. You guys still don't get it. Trump's popularity is people fed up with politicians that are nothing but lying a-holes. Is that not basically what we've said over and over and over again? Please listen, 708 and other Trump supporters. Please listen. I know that you cannot hear. You've earmuffs when it comes to anything that could be construed as even constructively critical of Donald Trump. I get it. Please listen. I get and we've expressed ad nauseum that we get the frustration and the exasperation and the angst and that it is all legitimate. I disagree. I think Amy's expressed that she disagrees that Trump is the vehicle to express all of those legitimate grievances. I can't make it any clearer. I honestly can't make it any clearer. And if you don't want to hold Donald Trump accountable for anything that he says or anything that he does, well, then that's your right as an American. And you can do that at the ballot box when he comes around to a neighborhood near you. Fine. But this we don't get Trump. I perfectly get him.
I get him, but I see him as an entertainer. I mean, does he love America? Does he want to make America great again? Yes, I believe that. But I don't trust him to go forward with his plans because he doesn't know about foreign policy. I don't think, could he surround himself with people who do? Yes. And hopefully, if he is elected, that he will do that. But I just think I don't trust him. He has too many knee-jerk reactions, too flies off the cuff that I don't trust him with, say, maybe a nuclear bomb.
Well, Ben Carson is the candidate that is probably best playing the role of the anti-Trump right now in terms of persona, Carly Fiorina, and humility and taking ownership of what he says. Here was his response to the question that Greta Van Susteren asked him about his rather gentle but nonetheless inquiry into Donald Trump's faith, a response in terms of whether he thought Donald Trump was a true believer. Here's Carson walking that back.
No, I think I did slip, and that's why I apologize. I really should not have taken that bait. There's no reason ever to question anybody's faith. That's something between them and God. And, I just don't want to get into that at all.
But he did answer the question because a lot of people are upset that he visited Ferguson, Missouri. If we can bring this up, and this was his response of why he went.
Has it gotten much better or not?
I don't see evidence that it's gotten any better. In fact, it seems to be exacerbated to me. There seems to be more racial strife and tension right now. And I think we need to be really sitting down and very carefully analyzing. One of the things that impressed me in Ferguson, talking to the mayor, talking to the lieutenant governor, talking to some of the people who were protesters, some of the people whose businesses had been destroyed, is looking at the very cordial relationships that exist between those various groups now because they've gotten to know each other. And if we can start maybe having those kind of dialogues before the problems begin, I think we have a very good chance of averting a lot of them.
Yeah.
And somebody texted in, the fact that he went to Ferguson, Missouri means he's done as a candidate. I don't see that as all.
No, what was wrong with what he said? I didn't find anything objectionable whatsoever.
Well, people are just mad that he went.
I think that's a small cross-section of the electorate. I don't see anything wrong with it, and certainly with the takeaways. In addition to that, though, this will be more of a point of contention on Wednesday night. During that interview with Greta Van Susteren, he talked about the need for a guest worker program as it pertains to those people that are here illegally. That's essentially the idea of rounding up and deporting how many of our untold millions of persons that are here illegally who are otherwise law-abiding and productive is not sensible policy. So that could be a point of distinction between himself, Carson that is, and Donald Trump, and maybe some others on the stage. Wall Street Journal today opined, and I understand the Wall Street Journal is more pro-immigration than the Republican base, but nonetheless, Rick Perry, who left the race last week, had some experience as a border state governor, a pretty wide swath of the border down there in Texas. And in his Friday remarks, his salvo, Mr. Perry said, quote, "We cannot indulge nativist appeals that divide the nation further. To answer our current divider-in-chief is not to elect a Republican divider-in-chief. We can secure the border and reform our immigration system without inflammatory rhetoric, without base appeals that divide us based on race, culture, and creed." Pretty responsible statement from Rick Perry on his way out the door.
Yes, he made the announcement. He just said that he's suspending his campaign for the presidency and said that there's a tremendous field and probably the greatest group of men and women in a generation.
Yeah, I think he's probably right about that. Kevin in Northfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan, I'd like to offer a reasoned critique of Dan's reasoned critiques.
Okay.
I believe on an order of magnitude about rapaciousness, avariciousness, Hillary and the Democrats are a 9.99, whereas Donald Trump is a 4.3. You're treating them the same. You're violating the 11th commandment.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Kevin. I'm not treating I'm not treating him the same. I'm looking at Donald Trump in the context of the Republican primary electorate. The comparison to Hillary is a false comparison because we have 16 candidates in the Republican field from which to choose, number one. Number two, the 11th commandment that is so often invoked, certainly not abided by Donald Trump, who said Fiorina's ugly. I mean, but among other things he said. But the 11th commandment is this a fiction that is used by incumbents to protect themselves against constructive criticism. Remember who is the author of the 11th commandment? You know who it is, Amy? Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did that same Ronald Reagan run in a primary against an incumbent president of the United States in 1976? That's that election cycle? Yes, he did. Spare me the 11th commandment blather.
There you go again. Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right. I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you want to refinance and pay off debt, you called me and I helped you. When your kids were purchasing their first home and you wanted to make sure they were working with a trustworthy lender, you called me and I helped them. If you would like to talk to me about a mortgage, please give me a call at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email me at david@pearldavid.com. That's david@PERLDavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186, pearlmortgage.com licensing.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to someone on the other side of the Maginot Line, Mark Perry, who's not only writes a Carpe Diem blog for American Enterprise Institute, but he's a econ professor at the University of Michigan. We'll talk to him about the state of higher ed at 7:37.
And then meet the new Miss America and why her Q&A segment is making news. We'll have it for you here. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and get the latest on that shooting in Kentucky. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Authorities there are still searching for a suspect who shot and killed a Kentucky State Police trooper last night. The suspect's vehicle was found abandoned in the median of I-24 in Lyon County. It's a dangerous situation. Dozen tourists are dead after Egyptian security forces mistakenly identify them as militants. Egyptian officials say the tour group was traveling in unmarked cars within a restricted zone in western Egypt. 4 firefighters are hurt, 1 person dead in Northern California in a wildfire that blew up over the weekend. They're calling it the Valley Fire. It's burning 100 miles north of San Francisco in Lake County.
As we came down, there was fire everywhere. And all houses, our neighbors' houses, friends' houses, everybody's houses are burning up. It's awful.
That's Lake County resident Joyce Ream, emotional about all that destruction. Senator Bernie Sanders brings his campaign for Democrat presidential nomination to an unlikely stage. The self-described independent socialist will speak at Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia this morning. Australia getting a new Prime Minister. Malcolm Turnbull will head the government after outpolling Prime Minister Tony Abbott in a vote for leadership of the ruling Liberal Party. A man is dead after a house explosion on Chicago's far south side. Fire broke out early this morning in the 10,000 block of South Morgan. An investigation is underway. A community in mourning after an off-duty Chicago Ridge police officer was killed when the car he was riding in was struck by a wrong-way driver in the northbound lanes of the Tri-State Tollway near Oak Brook on Sunday. Several Chicago police officers are being given credit for helping save a young girl's life. She was choking on a piece of candy. Authorities say the officers discovered the 2-year-old unresponsive in a vehicle Saturday night after pulling over a woman driving erratically on the south side. Police performed the Heimlich maneuver and were able to revive that child before she was taken to the hospital. And there's sad music news this morning. Fans of REO Speedwagon guitarist Gary Richrath are reacting to his death this morning. Richrath died late yesterday at the age of 65. 12 albums with REO, including the band's biggest ones, like Taken on the Run, Can't Fight This Feeling, Riding the Storm Out. Band, actually a song written by Gary Richrath. The band issued a statement on Twitter saying the entire REO family mourns the death of our guitarist. And by the way, he did eventually reunite with REO, playing that Rock to the Rescue Tornado Relief concert in December 2013. Richrath was from East Peoria. Chicago sports, Philadelphia over the Cubs 7-4. Twins over the White Sox 7-0. And Green Bay wins the battle with the Bears 21-13. The news service of the City of Chicago's Blue Card Recycling Program. Remember to break down your cardboard boxes and put them in the blue recycling cart. Visit chicagorecycles.org to learn more. Check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
At Galaxy, they'll help make the house you have into the home you love. Right now, get kitchen or bath cabinets, 2 for the price of 1. Contact Galaxy 773-783-8300 or galaxyhome.com.
Hi, this is Shalom Klein of Get Down to Business, the show for small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship, powered by Tandem HR.
Big plans for your business mean you can't do it alone. Investing in your management team is a smart investment in your future. These 5 tips from Tandem HR will take your business to the next level. 1. Find good talent and keep them. This means paying them fair and square for what they bring to your team. 2. Recognize a job well done. Sharing in success builds morale and creates a culture that appreciates hard work. 3. Teach time management. Arm your team with tools that will help them get the most out of every day. 4. Invest in training and development. Great leaders have a constant willingness to learn. 5. Lead by example. Be professional, decisive, ethical, and supportive. The leadership skills you want to see in your team should be the same skills they see in the boss.
For more tips, advice, and stories of entrepreneurial successes, listen to Get Down to Business with me, Shalom Klein, heard Sunday evenings at 6. Your Business Minute of the Day is brought to you by Everett Wealth Solutions.
The home improvement and remodeling expo that Bob Vila promotes is coming back to the Lake County Fairgrounds September 19th and 20th. If you're looking to remodel your kitchen, bathroom, basement, or you're in the market for a new roof, flooring, windows, or siding, then this is the event for you. At this free 2-day expo, you'll meet local and national contractors displaying their best products and services. Get fresh ideas, set up estimates, and talk directly with contractors, many of which are offering huge discounts. Maybe you need a new fence, deck, gutter protection, or just a handyman. You'll find everything you need under one roof. Increase the value of your home and impress your friends and family by getting the hottest home updates. Pick the brains of the experts and hire your next remodeling contractor at the upcoming Home Improvement and Remodeling Expo, September 19th and 20th at the Lake County Fairgrounds in Grays Lake. This is the Home Expo Bob Vila promotes, and admission and parking are free. Get more information at homeshowevent.com. That's homeshowevent.com.
The sounds of an accident. You or a loved one has been injured. Your mind is racing. What happened? Is everyone okay? What now?
I'm Dan Compton of Compton Law Group. We know that at a time like this, you want answers. More importantly, you want justice for what has taken place. If you or a loved one has been injured, please, before you sign something or talk to anyone, call Compton Law Group. This is our specialty, fighting for your rights, fighting for you, and making sure that justice is served. You can reach me at 847-742-6100. That's 847-742-6100. It's my job to make sure that you, your family, and your loved ones are protected and compensated properly. We handle nursing home accidents, car, truck, and motorcycle accidents, construction accidents, and medical malpractice.
When accidents happen, and they will happen, make sure you have Compton Law Group on your side. 847-742-6100 or online at ComptonLawGroup.net. When accidents happen, take the appropriate action with Compton Law Group, located in Elgin and serving all of Chicagoland.
7:38 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Like the eastbound Reagan Tollway has heavy delays from Orchard to 59, where new ramp closures kicked in at the end of last week, and it's also very slow from 83 to the Tri-State. Eden's 25 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, up on 24. The Kennedy, 45 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, up on 36. The Eisenhower's now 55 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, up on 41. Stevenson, 56 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, up on 41 on the Ryan. 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic, service of UPSjobs.com. UPS is seeking part-time package handlers in Northbrook and Palatine, offering competitive pay and an attractive benefits package up to $25,000 in educational assistance. UPS actively promotes from within. Apply today at UPSjobs.com/radio. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Weather from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Sunny, breezy, 77 today. Currently, 53 at O'Hare and 58 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show. Tune in on Saturday mornings at 8 to learn how you might fight foreclosure and keep your home.
Good morning. What up, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. Amy, I believe it was Emerson who said that first man is corrupted and then he corrupts the language. And then he gets a tenured position at a university in America, and he corrupts the student body, too. We've talked about these stories. The Tennessee advisory.
Oh, yeah. I have a whole list of colleges and universities my children are not going to be going to.
Correct.
And the Tennessee one, was it the pronoun he, she?
Gender-neutral pronouns.
Yeah.
First, that offends my my sense of hearing.
It's a shim.
Z and Zer.
Oh, that's right. Z was for he and Zer was for her, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
What kind of liberal gobbledygook is that?
Well, it's just the latest iteration of what occurred when I was at Northwestern getting fleeced 20 years ago, which is the women, WOMYN.
Wait, WOMYN.
You got to get rid of the E because that references men. Evil. I mean, seriously, what's going on in college campuses, and then how it redounds to secondary and primary education, and what it is that people are paying for that have been essentially sold this bill of goods that your kid you have to go spend $250,000 to get a degree from Northwestern or University of Michigan. Speaking of University of Michigan,
yes,
we're now joined by Mark Perry, who writes the popular Carpe Diem economics blog for the American Enterprise Institute, which is must-reading for me. I would highly encourage it. He's also a econ professor at the University of Michigan. Mark Perry joins us now. Hey, Mark.
Hi, Dan and Amy.
So the University of Tennessee has walked back, that's the system president, walked back this gender-neutral pronoun silliness. But, this is like whack-a-mole. University of Tennessee removes this under scrutiny and ridicule, but there's a range of other universities doing the same thing. You're inside the hallowed halls of academia. What is going on in higher education?
Well, it's this kind of trend that has been going on for a long time of increasing liberalism. They talk about diversity, but there's no diversity of thought in terms of encouraging any libertarian or conservative professors to express their views. So, looking at this long term going forward, I guess this is part of what Glenn Reynolds and other people have called the higher education bubble. In terms of, just it's getting more and more expensive. And then, as you pointed out, the education just keeps getting watered down, and then it becomes so much more politically correct. Now there's all this talk about trigger warnings and safe spaces, and colleges used to be a place where students were supposed to be challenged, and now it's kind of like they're just being coddled and protected from diverse types of thought. So it's really troubling, and I think it's not sustainable in the long run, but at least for now, I think we can see these trends continuing.
And even at Ohio State, which I know University of Michigan, you two don't get along very well, but at Ohio State, the students can't even look at each other in a flirtatious manner because that's considered a possible crime.
It's just one thing after another, and now all of this, focused on this alleged, campus rape culture and things like that. So it's really, I guess, just part of this trend of increasing, influence of liberalism and leftist thought, and so I think that it's not a good trend, and I think the students are there's a disservice to the students, and they're paying more and more money and then getting this kind of education that just isn't quite as rigorous and challenging as it used to be in the past.
It seems to me, as I mentioned, when I was in college 20 years ago, it seemed to me that all the bad ideas and kind of the emoting greater than reason came from the students. It seems to me the change has been, now it comes from the adults in charge of the system. There's a good piece in the Federalist by Paul Bonicelli, who's a professor at Regent University, professor of government, and he talks about the fundamental problem. Forget these kind of isolated incidents and just kind of going from one to the other. There's a couple of fundamental problems, and one of them is you have educators who emote rather than educate, even in the hard sciences, social sciences like economics, even in hard sciences like STEM coursework. You have emotion, not foundation.
Well, yeah, and I think it's also a sign that the universities have been increasingly top-heavy with administrators, and people have written about administrative bloat and administrative blight. And so when you look over the last 20 or 30 or 40 years, there's more and more administrators who now we've got offices of equity, diversity, and inclusion, and vice chancellors, and this big army of bureaucrats that now often, I think, are going to go out and kind of, look for new ways that they can create rules or justify their existence. So I think it's the increasing, top heaviness of, in terms of administrators in higher education, that has also been part of this trend towards kind of more and more academic nitwittery or whatever it would.
Yeah, that's a good phrase. So you track on your blog, speaking of equity and diversity on campus, you track in your blog often test scores, just kind of economic data, test scores like ACT, SAT test scores, also graduation rates. So in the whole kind of gender balance discussion, is it men or women who are graduating at higher rates, who have better academic records, who are getting more advanced degrees? And the piece you did last week was kind of interesting and jarring because we're told there are no differences between men and women, yet we have this 40-year discrepancy between men and women when it comes to SAT scores, the math section of the SAT exam. Explain that a little bit and the implication of the data, of 40 years worth of data.
Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot of gender activists and feminists and, saying that there just aren't any gender differences anymore in math performance, but the SAT test is given to millions of high school students every spring, and they report the scores in the fall, and so the results just came out for 2015, and it's part of a historical pattern that goes back to at least 1972, that boys score, but that last year it was 31 points higher on average on the math portion of the SAT. The average over the last 40 years or so has been a 34-point gap in favor of boys. It's consistent across all ethnic groups, and so it just seems to indicate that despite what a lot of people would like to think, that the brains of boys and girls are just wired differently when it comes to mathematical performance, and that maybe would explain why we have more male mechanical engineers and more men in computer science. And this is interesting because girls are actually doing much better in high school and in college in terms of, if we look at grades, if we look at the number of AP honors classes they take in math and science, if we look at the average GPAs, if we look at the number of students or percent of students who graduate in the top 10% of their high school classes, girls clearly outperform boys academically in high school and then in both in college and in graduate school. But when it comes to just pure mathematical aptitude and ability, it just seems like boys still have an advantage over girls, and this shows up in a 30-plus point gap every year in the math SAT test scores.
And then the flip side of that, though, is in terms of earning degrees, advanced degrees, I mean, the female-to-male distribution is what at the higher ed level?
Well, and that's interesting because this goes back to 1981. I think people are surprised. Every year since 1981, women have gotten more college degrees than men. And so I think the last year, the class of 2015, I believe that women got about 57% of the bachelor's degrees and about 60% of the master's degrees. And this has been going on for 30 years or more, too. So, I mean, it's clearly the case that women outperform boys in terms of getting college degrees and getting master's degrees, and now even getting doctoral degrees and getting associate's degrees. So women dominate higher education in terms of degrees and performance. It's just on math areas, math subjects, it still seems like boys just have a clear, possibly genetic advantage.
And if those numbers were reversed, we'd be talking about an education crisis at the collegiate level for women, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they get very selective about the gender imbalances and gender disparities. And anytime there's a gender imbalance in favor of women, the fact that women get more biology degrees than men or get 75% of veterinary science degrees, then there's never an issue. It's only when, women are underrepresented that always seems to, provoke some kind of national crisis, that then there's going to have to be federal funding or new rules or enforcement of Title IX or whatever it is. So it's very selective in the concern about gender imbalances, and the concern is usually only when gender imbalances are in favor of men.
He is Mark Perry, professor of economics, finance at University of Michigan, and the author of the Carpe Diem blog at the American Enterprise Institute website. Mark, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Dan and Amy.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro math answer line.
I cherish women. It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, something you have to hear to believe. Miss America pageant held late last night, and the winner is, well, the question. But first, here's your forecast. Mostly sunny, breezy, a high of 77. Tomorrow, even warmer, plenty of sunshine, a high of 80. Travel times, here's Jim.
Thanks, Amy. It's pretty heavy right now. The inbound Kennedy now 48 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 36. The Edens 25 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. Inbound Eisenhower past St. Charles. There's a stall in the left lane. 56 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, and 41 from Manheim. Outbound 41 to Thorndale. Stevenson 56 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 41. Ryan is 30 minutes. 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, slow going 95th to the Mile Long Bridge, from the Stevenson to 31st. Roosevelt to Grand Avenue. Southbound, there are delays, 120 to 137. The other tollways heavy, too, especially the Reagan tollway eastbound Orchard to Eola, and Highland most of the way to the Tri-State. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Don't get stuck paying two mortgages or living with the frustration of a for sale sign in your yard forever. The answer is simple. Just call Saul Z and the Z team. Saul Z guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to. If 29 days pass without a sale, Saul will buy it. And working with Saul won't obligate you to anything because if you aren't happy, Saul lets you out of the contract. He can because Saul spends many more times than the average realtor on marketing. For example, Ozzy listed his Wicker Park Bucktown home for 140 days with another realtor. Then Saul Z sold Ozzy's home in only 11 days at $41,000 over the listing price. What a difference in results, which is why the Wall Street Journal ranks Saul among the top 250 agents in the country. I know I'll be calling Saul when I'm ready to sell my well-appointed downtown condo or buy a new home. So go to callsaul.net. That's Saul, SAUL.net, to find out what your home's worth, or call Saul directly at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666. Start packing.
Cornerstone National Bank believes trust, service, and relationship is the foundation of a business banking partnership. Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company, where you belong. Visit cornerstonenb.com. Member FDIC.
Merlin 200,000-mile shops are offering car owners 40 hints for money-saving motoring.
Hint number 17.
The way to get car repair clout is to form an alliance.
So Merlin invites you to join our Drive for 200,000 alliance.
First, it'll get you discounts on all our products and services.
Plus, you store up cash, which is deposited in a personal Merlin savings account.
You can then use your savings account to purchase bigger things like name brand tires and maintenance services.
So, join Merlin's Drive for 200,000-mile alliance.
Clout is what it's all about.
At Merlin, more life for you and your car.
It's shocking, but winter is just around the corner, and your shocks and struts play an important role in delivering satisfactory steering, stopping, and stability. Visit Merlin for a free suspension check, and right now you can buy 4 shocks or struts for the price of 3 by mail-in rebate with Monroe's Shocktober promotion. You can visit Merlins.com for locations, coupons, and to make an appointment.
The movie Captive is a powerful, true story of faith over fear.
Police looking for Brian Nichols.
A man on the run.
You scream again and I will have to kill you.
A woman held captive.
My name is Ashley.
In your darkest hour, who will you turn to?
God, please help me.
What is that?
The book, The Purpose-Driven Life.
Read it to me.
God expects you to make the most of what you have been given.
Could you forgive me?
I don't know. Maybe God can.
Captive. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. In theaters Friday. For group sales and tickets, visit CaptiveTheMovie.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
So last night was the big Miss America contest. Did you watch, Dan?
I did not, no.
Flip back and forth?
No.
Well, the winner was Miss Georgia. Her name is Betty Cantrell. And she's,
Real peach.
Yeah. Oh, hey. She's making news this morning because during the Q&A, which is always my favorite segment after the swimsuit competition, is the Q&A. And she was asked about New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady and his cheating in route to his team's run to a Super Bowl title, and if the using of the footballs were inappropriately deflated. It was a very strange question, which I thought was, not appropriate for this kind of venue. But here's her answer. Listen carefully.
That's a really good question. I'm not sure. I think I'd have to be there to see the ball and feel it and make sure it was deflated or not deflated. But if there was question there, then yes, I think he cheated. If there was any question to be had, I think that he definitely cheated and that he should have been suspended for that. That's not fair.
No.
She got the answer right as far as I'm concerned. He cheated.
Well, she told the AP that it was kind of a funky question, and she's not a football player. She doesn't even really watch football. She's not a fan.
It's like she's like Jay Cutler.
Well, she knew basically. Hey.
Oh, you just got that?
I just got that.
Yeah. Too soon.
But it reminded me of my favorite beauty pageant moment, which was Miss South Carolina.
Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries. So we will be able to build up our future for our children.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, South Carolina.
She sounds like Debbie Wasserman Schultz trying to define the difference between Democrat and socialist.
Also, the pageant marked the return of Vanessa Williams. Remember her, Miss America in 1984, who was, she had to resign the crown following a nude photo scandal. Well, the pageant executive chairman, Sam Haskell, apologized to her after she sang on stage. It was a very awkward moment.
I want to apologize for anything that was said or done that made you feel any less the Miss America you are and the Miss America you always will be.
Oh, boy.
She was.
Hey, Sam. Hey, I'm fine. Hey, keep it together, buddy.
She did. She kind of looked at him like, all right, this is really
Weird.
wildly inappropriate. But she was head judge and she voted for Miss Georgia.
That's a really good question. I'm not sure. I think I'd have to be there to see the ball and feel it and make sure it was deflated or not deflated. But if there was question there, then yes, I think he cheated. If there was any question to be had, I think that he definitely cheated and that he should have been suspended for that. That's not fair.
What a country.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
Well, I had back pain for the last 40 years. 4 days after I started taking this stuff, it's gone.
This summer was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
It's fantastic. My husband is loving the product. I'm so happy that I ordered it.
Yeah, I haven't got sick in a year, first time in my life.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
If you want the best sleep ever, don't wait any longer. Go to mypillow.com, type Amy in the promo code. 2 pillows for the price of 1. It helps if you have insomnia, neck pain, allergies. It's washable. It keeps its shape to give you support where you need it. That's why it was named the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. Buy one, get one free. Go to mypillow.com, Amy in the promo code, or call 800-489-0201. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, we'll have Dr. Waleed Phares, Fox News Middle East and terrorism expert, to talk about that Syrian refugee matter and whether or not the United States should be welcoming in Syrian refugees. But first, we go to Mike Scott in the newsroom with some breaking news about the pursuit of that suspect wanted in connection with the shooting death of a Kentucky state trooper.
Dan, authorities in western Kentucky say they have captured a suspect they believe shot and killed a state police trooper. A Lyon County, Kentucky judge made that announcement this morning. We'll have details on that story from Fox coming up in just a moment. Meantime, here, an off-duty Chicago Ridge officer killed in a wrong-way crash. We'll bring you reaction. Complete look at weather after Fox News, WIND, Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
I'm Dave Anthony. Kim Davis says it's a
seemingly impossible choice.
As the once jailed Kentucky County Clerk returns to work this morning.
My conscience or my freedom.
But she has a plan. Fox News Radio's Jeff Manasso has the update live.
Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis says she will not interfere with her deputy clerks issuing gay marriage licenses, but also says that
any unauthorized license that they issue will not have my name, my title, or my authority on it. Instead, the license will state that they are issued pursuant to a federal court order.
And Davis also questions whether or not same-sex marriage licenses per the current state law are even legal without her signature. She's once again asking the Democratic governor to intervene. Dave.
Jeff, also in Kentucky, a hunt for a cop killer may have ended. There are reports Joseph Johnson Shanks has been apprehended. He's accused of murdering a state trooper after fleeing a traffic stop late last night, then stopping as prover Joseph Ponder pursued, and then
Johnson Shanks allegedly got out of his car, opened fire, and unleashed a hail of
bullets at the trooper's windshield. He then took off running. Officer Ponder later died at the hospital.
Fox's Ainsley Earhart. European ministers are meeting today to discuss shared responsibility in a migrant crisis that has Hungary building a fence. Fox News Radio's Simon Owen live at the border with Serbia.
Dave, I'm standing in the middle of the countryside among fields of crops, but in between the fields, this 100-mile-long border is now marked with a 13-foot-tall barrier, meshed metal at the top, coils of razor wire piled up at the bottom. You can see bits of shredded clothing where people have tried to climb through, and the fence is almost complete. Hungary says it's necessary, but other European countries are uneasy about this being the first site of Europe for people escaping war. One EU lawmaker just visiting here told us it's shameful. Dave.
This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Sunshine this morning. We have 57 degrees. 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man is dead after a home explodes on the far south side. Fire officials say the fire broke out this morning early in the 10,000 block of South Morgan. Crews did find an unresponsive man after putting out the blaze. No other injuries were reported. Community is in mourning today after an off-duty Chicago Ridge police officer was killed Sunday when the car he was riding in was struck by a wrong-way driver. It happened Sunday in the northbound lanes of the Tri-State Tollway when that vehicle was smashed head-on by another car near Oak Brook. Chief Robert Pisnarski says Officer Stephen Smith will be missed.
Steve was always very outgoing with the officers. They had a lot of fun with Steve. Steve was a great person. He's going to be truly missed by our officers.
The drivers of both vehicles were left hospitalized but are expected to survive. Several Chicago police officers are being given credit for helping save a young girl's life. She was choking on a piece of candy. Officers discovered the 2-year-old unresponsive in a vehicle that was pulled over Saturday night. A woman was inside yelling, "My baby, my baby." She was on the way to the hospital. Police took that girl and performed the Heimlich maneuver and were able to revive that child before that child was hospitalized. And this morning, authorities say a Kenosha, Wisconsin woman killed her 2 children, then tried to kill herself. Police Chief John Morrissey tells us investigators believe the children ages 1 and 3 were medicated, then suffocated. Chicago sports, Philadelphia beat the Cubs. Twins over the White Sox. First weekend of NFL action. Green Bay over the Bears, 31-23. The news, a service of Unbound. Ever wonder where your charitable donations are really going? At Unbound, you'll know who you're helping and what impact your support is having on their life. Learn more at unbound.org. It's 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And this morning from the Fox Business Network, here's Pat O'Neill.
From the Fox Business Network, U.S. stock futures edging higher, shrugging off downbeat Chinese economic news. Wall Street will also try to build on Friday's rally when the Dow gained 103 points. China reported weak factory output as Asian markets ended mostly lower. European markets showing modest gains. This week's main economic news is due Thursday when the Fed is slated to end its 2-day meeting and reveal whether it plans to raise interest rates or stay on hold. The UAW has chosen Fiat Chrysler as its target company in ongoing contract negotiations with Detroit's automakers, so Fiat Chrysler could be hit with a strike if talks break down. Any deal with Fiat Chrysler would also set a pattern for contracts at GM and Ford. The UAW has said all 3 automakers are working hard toward reaching an agreement. The Perfect Guy and The Visit have sailed past modest opening weekend expectations at the box office, locking in debuts in the mid-$20 million range. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Pat O'Neill.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The FICO score is not really even a good indication that you pay your debts back.
Dave Ramsey.
What it's an indication of is, do you love debt? And are you planning on staying in debt continually, forever? If you're running around trying to build your FICO score and you call that winning with money, you're stupid. Was I unclear? I hope not. Because you're not winning with money. That's the point.
It's the Dave Ramsey Show, tonight at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
What do Fortune 500 companies do when they need to find new workspace? They call Regis and 1-800-OFFICES. With Regis, you can easily expand today and get your people up and running tomorrow. With fully furnished, tech-powered co-working spaces, offices, and admin support, Regis manages the details so you can focus on your business. Short-term, long-term, all on your terms. Regis makes it easy and affordable. Call Regis now at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And J.D. Power ranked Bayer's portfolio of meters highest in customer satisfaction with blood glucose meters. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Walgreens.
It's 8:06 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center, and the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Eden's delays start around Foster, 25 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. The Kennedy is 50 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 28 from Montrose, 21 in the Express. Outbound 36 minutes downtown to the airport. The inbound Ike, an hour. Thorndale to the post office, 43 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 41 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 36 minutes. Ryan is 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, so 95th to the Mylong Bridge. From the Stevenson to 31st and Roosevelt to Grand Avenue. Adams Tollway stop and go from the Elgin Toll to 59 and Elmhurst to Lee. Reagan Tollway jammed. Orchard to 59. And Highland much of the way to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial from I-55 to the Reagan Tollway. And Army Trail to Lake. Lakeshore Drive delays are southbound Irving Park to Fullerton, northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly sunny and breezy, high 77. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 61. Mostly sunny tomorrow, high 80. And partly cloudy at night, low 58. Mostly sunny and breezy Wednesday with a high of 81. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
53 at O'Hare, 57 along the lakefront. Next news coming up at 8:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the New American Funding Show, walking you through stress-free mortgage options. Sunday afternoons at 1 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Storming Iowa, Marco Rubio, Rand Paul, and Scott Walker tailgating at the Super Bowl of Iowa college football. Iowa versus Iowa State.
A brand new Quinnipiac University poll putting Dr. Ben Carson in second place with 21% in Iowa. Only Donald Trump is ahead of him, the Donald polling at 27%.
And the problem is that there's an illusion in this country and in the Republican base that you can govern by screaming. That Donald Trump.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning. What up, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. So, how to deal with the Syrian refugee crisis, something that Europe is wrestling with. Germany has reversed course over the weekend.
Yeah, they recently closed their borders with Austria. I didn't see that coming.
Cut off rail travel from Austria, instituting spot checks of cars. Well, they made this grand announcement they'll take 800,000 refugees in this year. And, of course, this has led to a flood of people in, and they're being overwhelmed. This is how serious the crisis is, talking about the largest displacement of people since World War II. And then, again, last week, of course, President Obama said next year we'll take 10,000 Syrian refugees. The question that a lot of people have is, who exactly are we taking? Are we taking the persecuted or the persecutors or some combination of the two? And how do we discern the difference? With insight into that question and many others, we're now pleased to be joined by Dr. Walid Phares. He is a Fox News counterterrorism and Middle East expert. Dr. Faris, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
So how do we answer that question that people are wrestling with? Yes, we want to be a country that welcomes people who need political asylum, who are fleeing repression, but how do we make sure we're not also welcoming in people who mean to do us harm? Like, for example, what ultimately happened when the Tsarnaev family was granted refugee status.
Well, first of all, the first issue to discuss, I guess, is the root cause of this. I mean, these are not waves of people traveling from country to country from no country. They are coming mostly, at least this wave, from Syria. And they're not even coming from inside Syria. These are mostly refugees that were taken by Turkey. So they were sitting in Turkey for maybe 2 to 3 years in refugee camps. The big question has been why and how were they able to move from the borders between Turkey and Syria to the Aegean Sea, land on a Greek island, therefore they are already in Europe, and from there on, you have the story all the way to Austria, to Germany, and now probably to the United States. So the first question is, why aren't we doing something in Syria for this flow to stop before even asking the question, why are we taken? But now we have to ask the question because they have already left Syria, at least this wave.
Well, some GOP candidates said, let's just fix what's wrong in Syria and bring them back there. Is that ever going to happen? Because that seems like it's a dream.
Well, you have two kinds of answers. You have the dream-like answer that is fixing all of Syria, either defeating all of ISIS that controls 1/3 of Syria and or also bringing down the Assad regime and replacing both with a democratic functioning regime. That is a big task. That is something that we should have started in 2011. We are late about 4 years. It may take more than 3 to 4 years. So, yes. But there is another area, which is in the northeast of Syria and the northwest of Syria, that is free from the regime, that is free from ISIS. And this is where our effort should have been. Congress earmarked $500 million to help those, opposition people. The administration has been saying we are training those moderates for a couple of years, and we haven't seen much of it. So there is a minimal solution that we could, enact for these refugees to stay home. That does not mean that we have to solve all of Syria's problem at once.
Well, okay, but if President Obama is committed to pursuing this policy of bringing in 10,000, perhaps that number will increase, 10,000 Syrian refugees, which he seems committed to do, and as we know, he's happy to do things without Congress's assent, then how do we determine who is the persecuted and who could potentially be the persecutors? I mentioned Tsarnaev. So the Tsarnaev family was given refugee status a decade before the boys grew up and became the Boston Marathon bombers. What kind of protocol would you suggest, or is it even possible to make those kind of determinations?
Well, let me begin with the administration, since they will be the one overseeing this. If inside Syria or out of Syria, when they were training the opposition, they actually did not know how to train, how to identify the moderates from the jihadists. If in Syria itself we weren't able to do it, what if and when those waves will hit the United States? I agree with you. It's a major problem because these refugees, as a population, obviously the majority are, people who are fleeing war and fleeing. But they are a sampling of what's happening inside Syria. There will be definitely a percentage of those who are radical, and among them, a very small percentage of those who could be jihadists. And even if it's very small, Tsarnaev are only 2. Imagine if hundreds out of 10,000 would happen to be jihadists. That would be a serious problem.
And so there's no way to properly vet them or do a background check on any of these people if we do let them in?
The only way that we can have is an ideological vetting. And the ideological doctrinal vetting, meaning to determine their narrative, to determine if they are Islamists or Salafists or jihadists, has been removed by the Obama administration since 2009. We have been warning that if we remove this narrative, if we remove these analysts and officials can determine if these people are jihadists or not, one day we are going to be paying that price because we won't be able to handle how to vet. In America, we vet by going back to the Social Security and records. That does not exist in Syria or in Iraq. It's only by jihadi narrative, and we have removed it, unfortunately.
We're talking to Dr. Waleed Phares. He's a Middle East and terrorism expert. You see him often on Fox News Channel. So, Dr. Phares, how should we interpret the response, the chilly response from Eastern European countries, from Gulf states, when it comes to answering the question, will you take any Syrian refugees?
Well, we should not stop at their answer, which is no, we won't. We should also understand and hear what they're saying. The Eastern Europeans are very familiar with movements and migrations of people, and they know how it would end up if these populations are not integrated culturally or won't be integrated culturally. Especially, we're talking about Poland, that lost 1/3 of its territory, and the Czech Republic with the Sudeten and Slovak. I mean, Eastern Europe has way more experience with this than even Western Europe. But more important, they know what the totalitarian ideology can do. They were under the Soviets, under the Communist parties for that long. They are concerned, and they for good reason, that these refugees, if not vetted, as we just asked, to discuss now, they could be penetrated by the jihadists. In the Arab world, it's even worse. They know it. I mean, their intelligence service knows very well that ISIS and al-Nusra and al-Qaeda have penetrated. The Jordanians have been telling us, and the Kuwaitis now are telling us. It's not that their issue is with the refugee, although there could be an issue, but it's an issue of security.
Well, what's the latest going on in Germany? I know they closed their borders with the train station through the Austria border, but they said that they're going to take 800,000 people, but 13,000 came on just Saturday. Where are they putting all these people?
Well, look, the German government is pushed by the German companies that are basically going to Iran to do business, and going to Iraq, and hopefully they were thinking they're going to go to Syria when it settles. They were going after money, and if the price is okay, we'll take about 500,000 or 800,000, that'll be fine. But as soon as the first 5,000, 6,000 showed up, and the German public saw what it was, then there was a huge pressure on the German federal government telling them, we don't want this to happen. So now there's this change. But in my view, look at all the footages coming from Europe. It's almost chaos. They don't know what to do because Europe did not intervene with the United States in the region enough to stop it at the borders, the routes, and then help establishing those refugees at home. They are paying now the price across Europe.
Dr. Waleed Phares, Fox News Channel, Middle East and terrorism expert. Before we let you jump, there's an interesting piece on 60 Minutes last night profiling the continued persecution of Christians. They specifically looked at Iraqi Christians. Now, over the last 4 years, Iraqis have made up the preponderance of the refugees that have been granted asylum in the United States, and seemingly, generally, without incident. What about the ISIS's efforts to eradicate Christians in the Middle East? And should we be focused on trying to provide asylum to persecuted Christians rather than Syrians that we can't make heads or tails of?
Well, look, it's really a political choice. If there are individuals, I've been an expert on behalf of government and also on behalf of private citizens seeking political asylum in this country for the last 22 years. I've seen this up and down, and I know how court functions and how the government, behave in this case. These Christian minorities, their level of drama is much higher. I mean, when you're talking about the general Syrian population, general Iraqi population, even if 1 million leaves, you still have tens of millions behind. But here you're talking about 500,000 Assyrian Christians in northern Iraq. They have been uprooted entirely from their original homeland, which is the Nineveh Valley. So here we're talking about a cataclysm that struck these Christians. Half of them are now sitting in Kurdistan in northern Iraq, the other half in refugee camps and heading into as many countries as they can to get, refuge. I would say that those who have already left needs to be considered as serious because there is impossibility for them to go back to their homes. But I would still consider that those who are in Kurdistan, with the effort, the immense effort, billions of dollars we're spending in Iraq against ISIS, I mean, we could, have an attack ISIS from that valley and resettle the Christians. I would be against the idea of removing all the Christians from Iraq and resettle them. In Chicago or in Detroit or in California, some could join their families. But even those whom I met in Chicago and Detroit are telling me, if we have freedom in Iraq and Mesopotamia, we'd rather live there.
All right. Dr. Waleed Phares, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of sunshine greeting you on your Monday morning, back to work, back to school day. Well, it will be breezy, a high of 77 degrees. Tomorrow looks terrific, mostly sunny, warmer, a high of 80. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Inbound Kennedy at Ogden. The exit is blocked with a crash. The Kennedy is 53 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Express lanes will save you 5 or 6. Outbound, 31 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Eden's, 25 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound is 21. The Eisenhower, an hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. And 44 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 41 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, slow going from the 83rd Street toll to 31st. Roosevelt to Grand Avenue. Adams Tollway, stop and go. Yelgin toll to 59. Elmhurst to Lee. Westbound slow Manheim to Lee. Reagan Tollway jammed. Orchard to 59 with multiple ramp closures. And then from York to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial slow I-55 to the Reagan Tollway, and then Army Trail to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Join me and over 1,000 like-minded individuals for the GOP Fall Rally on Sunday, September 20th from 1 to 4 p.m. Meet candidates in an informal and personal venue, visit local groups and organizations working to promote Republican principles, and enjoy a good old-fashioned ballpark cookout. The rally is taking place at the Fifth Third Bank Baseball Park in Geneva. For more details and to buy tickets, visit 560theanswer.com and search the keyword rally.
To all commercial and industrial property owners, building managers, and roof consultants in Chicagoland, Waukegan Roofing says thank you. The Waukegan Roofing team knows you have a lot of choices when it comes to choosing a commercial and industrial roofing contractor. Navigating those options can be overwhelming because choosing a roofer you can trust is a big decision. For more than 100 years, Waukegan Roofing has been installing roofs you can rely on all over Chicagoland, and they couldn't have done it without you. It's because of your continued trust and support that they have become one of the oldest, most trusted contractors in the Chicagoland area. And for that, they thank you, Chicago. So if your building has an old roof in need of repair or replacement, or if you need a service and maintenance program to keep your roof performing at its peak level, Waukegan Roofing is ready to put their 100-plus years of experience to work for you. Let them protect you for the next 100 years. Call today at 847-623-1625 or visit WaukeganRoofing.com. Waukegan Roofing, 101 years installing roofs you can rely on. Thank you, Chicago.
Don't miss the second Republican presidential debate. It's coming up Wednesday night. That's the day after tomorrow. And the only place you'll hear the debate in Chicago is right here on AM 560. Our very own Hugh Hewitt will be one of the moderators. So listen to hear what kind of gotcha questions he might ask Donald Trump or other candidates. It all starts at 5 p.m. on Wednesday night and continues until 11 p.m. It includes analysis from Bill Bennett, Guy Benson, along with post-debate reaction from Hugh Hewitt himself. There's only one station in Chicago that's covering the 2016 campaign wall-to-wall, from the debates to the primaries to the conventions, all the way to the general election. And that station is AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, this is Matt McCann. You think the government is going to pay for your future long-term health care needs? Think again. If you have retirement savings to protect, you need to act now to make sure you can protect your assets and never be a burden on your loved ones.
This is why Matt McCann is providing you with a free special report to start your education process. Published by Kiplinger's Magazine and the American Association for Long-Term Care Insurance, you can discover the simple and affordable ways to protect your future or current retirement. Order now online at RadioLTC.com. RadioLTC.com. That's RadioLTC.com. Make sure you have a plan for the physical, emotional, and financial burdens that long-term care can have on your family and loved ones. RadioLTC.com. RadioLTC.com. That's RadioLTC.com. McCann Insurance Services. Let Matt help you and your family. RadioLTC.com. Or call toll-free 866-751-7957. RadioLTC.com.
The movie Captive is a powerful true story of faith over fear.
Police looking for Brian Nichols.
A man on the run.
You scream again and I will have to kill you.
A woman held captive.
My name is Ashley.
In your darkest hour, who will you turn to?
God, please help me.
What is that?
The book, The Purpose-Driven Life.
Read it to me.
God expects you to make the most of what you have been given.
Could you forgive me?
I don't know. Maybe God can.
Captive. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. In theaters Friday. For group sales and tickets, visit CaptiveTheMovie.com.
Booty, backside, rump, keister, butt. They come in all shapes and sizes, and everyone's got one. Did you know colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths for men and women combined? When caught early through screening, colon cancer is 90% treatable. Join the Colon Cancer Coalition and the Chris for Life Colon Cancer Foundation for the annual Get Your Rear in Gear 5K Run and Walk Saturday, September 26th at Montrose Harbor. Help crush colon cancer. Details at coloncancercoalition.org/Chicago.
Joe Walsh here. 6 Days of Blue continues tonight. I'm broadcasting live from Semino's Pizza in Joliet, Illinois. Freedom stands with law enforcement at 5. Be there.
Dan and Amy, so
she's back.
You're back to work today.
Yes.
You were in prison on Friday.
No, I wasn't.
And Kim Davis is also back to work in Rowan County, Kentucky. Question is, will she be arrested again and have Mike Huckabee serve her prison time for her? Not sure on that.
Where her husband show up in his overalls and straw hat and try and save her. Give her a pound cake with a shank inside.
Well, she says she's not going to stand in the way of her deputies issuing same-sex marriage certificates, but she wants her name removed, and her attorneys have filed a motion in court accordingly, saying that essentially they want the governor to act, and she should not have to sign marriage certificates until and unless the state legislature and the governor of Kentucky act to provide essentially a carve-out for her for her religious beliefs.
And they have done that in other states, as you pointed out, in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So her deputies are signing the certificate. So it's not as if a same-sex couple goes into that office and they're turned away. They are not turned away.
And then there's this story, kind of a related story. I wonder how those who support the imprisonment of Kim Davis would view this. 44 concealed carry permits issued by Washington, D.C. officials, local officials, 206 applicants. The Metropolitan Police Department of Washington, D.C. began accepting applications for concealed carry permits October 23rd, 2014, but essentially are slow-walking the issue of the permits. 44 issued, 206 applied. So
they're really dragging their feet.
So what do we say about that? The Supreme Court has weighed in on the Second Amendment. They have weighed in on D.C. gun laws. These are shall issue orders, with the exception of obviously people who are prohibited from owning a gun, like convicted criminals. So what about that? 44 permits issued from 206 applicants.
Since October 23rd, 2014?
It takes a year to process 250 applicants? Or is it, kind of a willing disregard for the law, and you're just going to hold people in abeyance until and unless you can't, which is essentially violating the rule of law? How would it be if Kim Davis was slow-walking the signature of marriage certificates in Rowan County, Kentucky? I don't think people would look at that favorably. And so how do you view local officials in D.C.? Who goes to prison there?
Well, they're being told by somebody higher up not to issue these concealed carry applications. And I don't know.
Well,
somebody's got to file maybe some sort of lawsuit against them to get the answers.
I mean, the hometown of Marion Barry, look, probably the best course of action here is to send all the D.C. officials to jail and let a judge sort them out after the fact.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, if you need to sell your home in Chicagoland, Sean Hannity here with some very important facts that you need to know. 40% of homes hitting the market in Chicago are not selling. Now, those are horrible odds. That's exactly why you need to call Saul Z and the Z team at Keller Williams, based right here in Chicagoland. Saul sells a home on average every 24 hours and attracts hundreds of buyers every month locally, nationally, and internationally. Recently, the Wall Street Journal ranked Saul's team in the top 110 teams out of 1.2 million agents in the U.S. class. Saul Z guarantees to sell your home in 29 days at a price and deadline that you agreed to, or he will buy your home or he'll sell it for free. Plus, working with Saul is also risk-free. After 24 hours, if he's not doing his job, you can walk away free and clear. Don't worry, you won't. Just call the agent I would call if I needed to sell my home and lived in Chicagoland. Call Saul now at 888-346-0666. That's 888-346-0666. Or go online at callsaul.net. That's callsaul.net.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I really started it from an advertisement, more for my husband than for me, but I decided we should both take it, and I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, that's a wonderful success story.
I know.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The California State Legislature passes assisted suicide legislation, and the new Dr. Death, Zeke Emanuel, couldn't be happier. We'll have that at 8:38.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, authorities in western Kentucky captured a suspect they believe shot and killed a police state trooper. Lyon County Judge Executive Wade White made that announcement this morning. State police say the shooting happened after Trooper Joseph Ponder tried to make a traffic stop along the heavily traveled Interstate 24 corridor in Lyon County last night.
The driver of that vehicle leaned out his window and fired a pistol numerous times into the police vehicle, striking Trooper Ponder.
The driver, identified as Joseph Johnson Shanks of Missouri, then fled and was later stopped abruptly a short time later. California officials say the Valley Fire torching the northern part of that state has claimed a life. The blaze burning about 100 miles north of San Francisco.
I grabbed a couple of photo albums, and you think you're going to be prepared, and you're not.
It started on Saturday and now covers 50,000 acres. A 42-year-old man is in critical condition after tumbling over a railing during Sunday's Denver Broncos game. Police say foul play is not expected. You may recall last month a man died during a baseball game between the Braves and Yankees at Atlanta's Turner Field. American Airlines is taking a hard look at all of its internal procedures this morning after admitting to a serious blunder. The airline owned up to flying the wrong plane from Los Angeles to Hawaii. That plane was flown to Hawaii August 31st. It did not have a long-range over-water certificate. The plane ended up landing safely. Man is dead after a house exploded on the far south side. Fire officials say the blaze broke out early this morning in the 10,000 block of South Morgan. A retired Chicago police officer is being accused of threatening those investigating the death of Fox Lake police officer Joseph Glinowitz. Lake County sheriffs say a person claiming to be that retired officer, Joseph Battaglia, was arrested at his home in Oak Lawn and charged with disorderly conduct and remains in the Lake County jail. Illinois' next budget casualty could be stinging for some state employees. The State Journal-Register reporting the governor is considering a plan to end payments for state health insurance benefits. Workers now would still have coverage, but the state may stop paying doctors and dentists for the treatment of state employees. Philadelphia beat the Cubs 7-4, Minnesota over the White Sox 7-0, and Green Bay beat the Bears in the opening weekend of NFL play 31-23. The news service of the American Association for Cancer Research. The American Association for Cancer Research, the world's first and largest organization dedicated to finding cures through research. Please support cancer research by donating today at aacrfoundation.org. 8:35 is our time, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is sure public officials can't circumvent the law.
To force somebody in the private sector to do something that conflicts with their religious beliefs is deeply problematic. I'm not sure I would extend that to somebody who's an elected government official who's in the business of issuing marriage licenses.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you. Or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from a living trust, which can protect your assets from the court system and your loved ones from unnecessary expense and inconvenience. Learn more at a free seminar on Wednesday, September 16th or Wednesday, September 23rd. Estate planning attorney Robert Zapolis will explain how to create your living trust, estate planning under new tax laws, why a will does not avoid probate, and more. Have your estate planning and living trust questions answered absolutely free. Don't miss this important seminar September 16th or 23rd at 6:30 p.m. at Papa Joe's Restaurant, 145th and LaGrange Road in Orland Park. The seminar is free and a complimentary dinner is served, but you must make a reservation now. Call 708-478-1400. That's 708-478-1400. 708-478-1400.
At Galaxy, they'll help make the house you have into the home you love. Right now, get kitchen or bath cabinets, 2 for the price of 1. Contact Galaxy 773-783-8300 or galaxyhome.com.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
I will tell you one thing, and he's sick all winter. He wasn't sick at all this winter, not one time.
I've taken vitamins my whole life, and this is really the only thing that I've ever really felt like that did anything.
Well, I kept coming down with the flu, and she said double them, triple them, and that's what I did since then, and I haven't had the flu. So I know it worked.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
8:37 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Eastbound Reagan Tollway traffic is stop and go from 31 to 59. The exit ramps are closed till next Monday. We have delays on the northbound Veterans Memorial from the Fountain Toll Plaza to the Reagan Tollway, the Army Trail Toll to 290. Edens Expressway inbound traffic is heavy approaching the junction. It's 25 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 21. Kennedy, an hour and 2 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 42 minutes from Montrose, 22 in the Express. Outbound 30 minutes to O'Hare, the Eisenhower. An hour Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 37 minutes. The Stevenson, 56 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 36. The Ryan is 30 minutes. 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive delays. Southbound Irving Park to Fullerton. Northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Sunny and breezy, 77 today, 53 at O'Hare, 58 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 9, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter, well, hear about it from your friends. Find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so California will become the fifth state with an assisted suicide law. Oregon, Washington, Montana, and Vermont already allow physicians to prescribe life-ending medication to some patients. California state legislature passed a bill Friday in the state Senate that will now go to Moonbeam's desk that will triple access to doctor-assisted suicide across the country if he signs it, because of obviously California's size. California bill is modeled on the law in Oregon. Would expire, but some changes would expire after 10 years. Doctors would have to consult in private with the patient desiring to die, and so forth. But
let me guess, by the tone of your voice, you are morally, adamantly against this.
312-642-5600. Should that come to Illinois? Zeke Emanuel certainly thinks so. I know Zeke Emanuel, he's Rahm's brother.
Yes.
He's a bioethicist. I know technically he says he's against legalized assisted suicide, but he's also the individual who famously came up with the formulation that 75 is a good year to check out, that he's going to check out at 75, and he encourages others to do so because that's the only way you can make the economics of Obamacare work. I'm kidding about the last part, but not really.
If people don't die, what's going to happen to our Social Security?
Yeah, I mean, this is where there's a price tag in everybody's head, and it is politicians that know the exact price. If that makes you comfortable, then super.
But wait. If you know that you're going to die, like, similar to that 30-year-old girl who was in Oregon and she knew she was dying from cancer, but she wanted to choose her own death date, and she was able to, have her physician basically put her down, like you do your dogs when they're sick. And
interesting comparison.
I know, but is dying, what Jack Kevorkian once said, dying is not a crime.
Jack Kevorkian went to prison, convicted of voluntary manslaughter, spent 8 years in jail, did Dr. Death. So I don't know that I would use Dr. Death as the poster child for the humanity of physician-sponsored, which is state-sponsored because it has the backing of law, physician-assisted suicide. If you want to claim your own life, I suggest you don't. Hope you wouldn't. But it's a much different proposition when you get state backing to do so and you get the state backing a physician to do so, because there are implications to that. But I'll take your calls on it. We'll take your calls on it. 312-642-5600. What's your view on assisted suicide?
I'm not opposed to it at all.
Yeah.
If you know that you have a fatal illness, you are dying, and you want to have the control over the date that you die, the date that's going to be on your tombstone, I don't know.
Yeah, I know suffering. We're going to perfect the human condition. There should be no suffering. And if there's suffering, then we should, we call it because we know. We know.
No, I don't. I mean, I've had friends who've died from cancer and, they've had the morphine, and then you have, the nurses there and tell you he's going to be transitioning soon. I've seen it. I've experienced with a number of family members, but if they didn't choose to die that way and they wanted to die earlier, say a week earlier, a month earlier, who am I to tell them no?
It's I understand the paean to empathy, but we don't know, and this is the hubris, and people that are in difficult conditions, or perhaps are not always thinking long term. I understand that. But I also understand that just because it comes from my head doesn't mean it's true. So just because I'm suffering, and look, nobody wants to suffer from the debilitating diseases, things like ALS and other gruesome diseases. It's terrible, and nobody wants to see anybody go through that suffering. However, there are implications to this kind of policy choice, starting with the fact you think you know what tomorrow brings. Well, and I'm not just talking about cures.
That you might just have a miracle. Well, I mean, there's always, there's life, there's hope. I've heard that several times.
Does that happen? Or is that fiction?
Sometimes. No.
Right. And here's the other thing. This from the public discourse. You want to look into the future of this, if we want to codify this into law? An excellent piece by Robert Carley in the Public Discourse, publicdiscourse.com, about Belgium and their euthanasia regime. Tom Mortimer, chemistry professor at Leuven University College, became a critic of euthanasia following his 64-year-old mother's death by euthanasia. In April 2012, Mortier was shocked and traumatized when the University Hospital in Brussels called him to inform him that his mother had been euthanized the previous day.
Oh, my God.
The hospital wanted him to retrieve his mother's body from the morgue. That's why I got the call. I'm still trying to understand how it's possible for euthanasia to be performed on physically healthy people without even contacting their children, Mortier said, chemistry professor. His mother was reportedly had been depressed following a failed romance, and she asked doctors not to contact her children.
Oh, my God.
Her psychiatrist believed that her depression was treatable, and he refused to help her die. So she went euthanasia shopping, and she found a psychiatrist who was willing to authorize the euthanasia procedure. What do you think about that?
I don't think that's appropriate.
Oh,
Dan.
well, see, this is where it becomes...
And mental illness is different than physical illness.
It becomes difficult to draw lines, though, doesn't it? This is what we find when government's in charge of life and death decisions, which is why you don't want government in charge of life and death decisions.
But aren't you ultimately in charge of your own decision and not the government? The government's going to allow you to do it, but you still have to make the decision yourself. And hopefully you'll surround yourself with smart doctors who aren't going to let you kill yourself because you're depressed.
Yeah, well, hopefully the government wouldn't sanction these things. The government has no business in this area. And that when government sanctions it, it's a bit of a different thing, isn't it, altogether? It is always a different thing when the state is involved, categorically. In 2013, the same doctor who euthanized the mom I just described, Dr. Distelmans.
How old was she?
64. 2013, the same doctor euthanized Mark and Eddie Verbessem, 45-year-old deaf identical twin brothers who lived together and worked as cobblers. Villages reported they would see the brothers around chatting spiritedly in sign language together, but they were not terminally ill, but they were suffering from physical pain. They couldn't bear the thought that they were going blind. Dr. Distelman said there was no other solution. They wanted to stay independent, and when they were becoming blind, independence was no longer possible. So out the door they go, euthanized them. The same Dr. Distelmans, who, by the way, is in charge of the Federal Commission of Control and Evaluation in Belgium. This guy who's euthanizing these people.
Sounds like a murderer, but go on.
What are you talking about?
They're 45 years old.
Autonomy. Everything is autonomy. Everything. If we kneel at the altar of autonomy. I'll continue. Dr. Distelmans euthanized a healthy 44-year-old woman who suffered from anorexia. In September 13th, Dr. Distelman euthanized Nathan, born Nancy, a transgender person who was unhappy with the results of a sex change operation. They
never end well.
Since 2003, it's just funny stuff, killing people. Since 2003, this Belgian council has reviewed 8,000 cases. Not one has been referred to prosecutors. This is ideology at play here. And according to Mortier, the chemistry professor who lost his mother, what's happening in Belgium, and we see this happening here too, this is, rejection of the Catholic patriarchal state that informed Belgium's culture. And so fundamental humanists are describing euthanasia as the ultimate act of self-determination. It's a beautiful, positive way to die. And hey, we can harvest your organs. That's what's happening in Belgium. You want to sign up for that in California, this country? All right. Chris in Des Plaines, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Thanks for taking the call. Aside from the fact that as a conservative, it's difficult to say that there's ever a point where life doesn't become sacred or precious. From a clearly legal standpoint, we have laws on the books that prevent you from being an accomplice or punish you if you're an accomplice to murder. But for some reason, when it's suicide, all of a sudden we think that being an accomplice to that somehow shouldn't remain criminalized. I just don't understand it.
Thanks for the call, Chris. Art in Skokie.
All right, thanks for taking my call. I think it's a slippery slope, and in Germany, before killing Jews, we started just killing retarded people like Down syndrome people and stuff like that, and it can happen anywhere. Germany used to be, it used to be a very progressive country, very intelligent and stuff like that, so it can happen anywhere.
Thanks for the call, Art. National Socialism. Charlotte in Arlington Heights.
Hi, the previous caller just took my point, but, if we don't respect life before birth, the unborn child, we're going to, what would stop us from taking life at the other end of the spectrum, or the handicapped, or the disabled?
Thanks for the call, Charlotte. Or anybody over 75, according to Zeke Emanuel. Phil on the Northwest Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
You're doing a phenomenal job. This is another anti-Christian Pandora's box. You're doing a phenomenal job. You are the salt and the light. I'm so glad you're getting this out. Could you find out what they're doing in China and Russia?
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Phil. I don't think you have to be ill to be executed by the government in China and Russia.
Just look at them the wrong way.
Ralph and Rantoul.
Hey, good morning. First of all, nobody needs assistance in killing oneself. Even Stephen Hawking could drive his chair into a pool. And as far as Kevorkian goes, he's...
Don't laugh, Dan. It's not funny.
Even Kevorkian, he helped people. I think he just liked killing people because when he got into jail, and he got ill. He fought like crazy to stay alive. Why didn't he kill himself in jail? I'm sure he's a smart guy. Could have figured it out. Maybe bartered for a shoelace or something like that.
Thanks for the
He
call,
died
Ralph.
from a pulmonary embolism
Hmm.
in Royal Oak.
Not assisted suicide, huh? No physician assistance there for Dr. Death. Sean in Elmwood Park.
I think to compare the idea of a mother killing the baby and the idea of someone deciding, for whatever reason, I've had enough and I choose to take my own life is disingenuous. I don't think there's a comparison at all. I've always been perplexed by the idea that suicide is illegal. Who's been prosecuted for it? And
we're talking about state sanction, Sean. We're not talking about.
I understand that, but why do I need a state's okay to do anything? I have a real problem with the notion that they have the power one way or the next when they're totally irrelevant. Right now, suicides are through the roof, as they are in almost all socialist societies. Through the roof. It is the epitome of hopelessness. And rather than address the fact of why these people feel so hopeless, you're focusing on the last act that they do on this planet. I think it's ridiculous, and I think, quite frankly, if you decide you've had enough, and instead of jumping in front of a train and putting your family through that, you go to a doctor and say, I've had enough. I want to take a pill. I think you should be allowed to do that.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
But my Bible says, Sean, if you commit suicide, you're going to hell.
Correct.
Thank you. We do agree on something. And this weather is going to be agreeable. If you like pleasant conditions, we're going to have mostly sunny skies. It'll be breezy, a high of 77 degrees. Then tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, just another glorious day, a high of 80 degrees. Let's get the travel times and see if there's any depression on the highway. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Yeah, it's a good thing we're not putting people down because of delays. At least not yet. On the Metro Union Pacific Northwest line, there's some real headaches right now. Trains are stopped in Mount Prospect, of all places. A truck hit the gates at the Central Road crossings. Trains aren't getting through. Gurnee has a traffic mess around 21 and Washington Street due to a crash. Eden's inbound 25 minutes like Cook to Montrose. Outbound it's fine. The Kennedyville. An hour and 2 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Express lane save you 15 to 20. The Eisenhower is an hour. Thorndale to the Loop. Stevenson looking at almost an hour. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. There's a crash at First Avenue with an ambulance blocking the left lane. The Ryan is 30 minutes. 95th to downtown. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
And speaking of Chicago radio deals, they've pulled the trigger to bring classes from Illinois gun owners. I know. All right, stop it. Take advantage of new Illinois concealed carry class from Safer USA. Dave Lombardo, good friend, a class instructor, is offering his concealed carry 16-hour seminar for only $150. This seminar is normally $300. It covers everything you need to know to protect you and your family with a concealed carry firearm for personal protection or against a home invasion. Dave is a pro and also the host of the show On Target Radio. Get in a little range time as well with a 1-year range membership from the Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Winthrop Harbor. This is the premier gun range in Northeast Illinois, and a 1-year membership is only $149. That's a $350 value. Your range membership includes great discounts on products and services at the Outdoorsman Sports Shop. Find out all the details only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Also featuring great deals on many other lifestyle training classes. Just go to ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Having a great smile to show off makes you feel good. There's no embarrassment associated with being able to flash your pearly whites whenever you want. If you'd like to feel that comfort and confidence with your smile, there's only one person who can help you. Dr. Neruzzi of Fox River Periodontics.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one, I was happy with it, so I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth. And they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. He'll be happy you did, and Fox River Periodontics.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
Hi, folks. Alan Thicke here. You know, some things in life are just too serious to take chances on, and owing money to the IRS is definitely one of those. The IRS has the power to garnish your paycheck. They can levy your bank account, even take your home or business. Seriously. Thankfully, with one simple call, you can start solving your tax debt once and for all. Optima Tax Relief is the leading tax resolution firm in the nation. They have over 250 professionals. They have an A rating with the Better Business Bureau and the trust of thousands of satisfied clients. Optima's attorneys can immediately protect you from aggressive collections because they are experts in the Fresh Start Initiative. That's a special IRS debt forgiveness program that could save you thousands. Don't wait till it's too late. Get serious. Call Optima now for your free consultation.
Call 800-711-5743. 800-711-5743. 800-711-5743. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Painting is personal. That's why I've chose CertaPro to do some painting for me. And it's not too late to get on their painting schedule. Get your home looking picture perfect for fall football and entertaining. Woo. It's also the perfect time to get the exterior painting off your to-do list before the ugly winter months set in. So schedule your exterior painting to coincide with a weekend away, and you'll come back renewed and refreshed to a fresh, new, beautiful coat of paint on your home. With CertaPro, you get the best of both worlds. It's America's largest painting company, yet they're your neighborhood painter. They bring expertise, security, and quality to ensure your complete satisfaction. When the painters arrive, they move the furniture, paint, clean up, and when they finish painting, they move it all back. It's that simple. I've chosen CertaPro, and you should too. Go to CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA, Certa with a C. CertaPro, because painting, it's personal.
You are a sign business, you want to grow, and you want to make more money. So do I. I want to partner with you. This is Dave Carlson, and my sign company is Franco Carlson & Company. We've been doing business in Chicago since 1894. With millions of dollars of state-of-the-art equipment, we can do any job. Trade shows, bus and vehicle wraps, banners for special events, even custom wallpaper. We can help you expand your sign business. If there is an order, any order, or a piece of business that you don't have the capabilities to do yourself, we can do it with you. You don't have to turn away any sign or print business any longer. Speed and quality to meet your deadlines. And we won't go after your customers directly. You have my word on that. Expand your sign business. Take any order. Make more money. Become a partner with Franco Carlson & Company. Contact me for a quote or stop by for a tour of our shop. Franco Carlson & Company. We are the sign company's partner.
Call Franco Carlson & Company at 773-847-6900. 773-847-6900.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
To get your 2 MyPillows for the price of one, call 800-489-0201 and please use the promo code Amy. Or you can go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code Amy. That's 800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Either way, don't forget the promo code AMY.
If the battery pack in your hybrid fails, that can be a huge unexpected expense. Dan Proft here for Midwest Performance Cars. In addition to complete maintenance and repair of European automobiles, Midwest Performance Cars is a certified hybrid shop location. Their technicians have undergone extensive training and can test and recondition your Toyota or Honda hybrid battery pack at a price hundreds less than your dealer. MPC can also perform a comprehensive pre-purchase inspection on hybrid vehicles and provide an accurate assessment of the health of your hybrid battery pack. The longevity of battery packs is a known drawback of a hybrid vehicle. Midwest Performance Cars offers an exclusive technology that can restore your battery to over 95% of its original performance. Take your hybrid to the dealership with a check engine light and they'll probably tell you that you need a new battery, costing you $3,000 to $5,000. With MPC's battery conditioning technology, you could potentially save up to 50%, keeping thousands of dollars in your pocket. They're located in Chicago's West Loop at the corner of Lake and Ogden. Free Lyft and Uber shuttle service available. Online at MidwestPerformanceCars.com. Midwest Performance Cars, the dealer alternative, an expert source for European auto maintenance and repair. Text from 847. Dr. Nick Riviera offers cheap euthanasia. Bye-bye, everybody.
Stop it. Goodbye, Dan. We had a great time today in our studio. Our thanks to David Stripling, technical producer, and Cesar Perez, our executive producer.
Shake and bake.
We'll see you back here tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. Let's go back now, though, into the newsroom and get the latest news from here at home and around the world. It is 9 o'clock.
Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. They got him. The man police believe murdered a state trooper fleeing a traffic stop in Kentucky late last night. Fox News Radio's Jeff Manasso has the update live.
Kentucky State Police confirmed to Fox News Radio that 25-year-old Joseph Johnson Shanks has been captured in the killing of a state trooper last night. 31-year-old trooper Joseph Cameron Ponder was conducting a traffic stop on I-24 in western Kentucky that apparently led to a high-speed chase that investigators say ended with Johnson Shanks, who's black, stopping abruptly, getting out of his car and allegedly opening fire on the white trooper, who was a U.S. Navy veteran and who graduated from the academy in January. Dave.
Jeff, Kim Davis is back at work this morning.
I just want to serve my neighbors quietly without violating my conscience.
And the Kentucky County Clerk jailed for not letting gay couples get married, citing her religious beliefs, says she will not sign off on licenses, but will not stand in the way of deputy clerks issuing them without her approval.
Now, Davis says she doubts the marriage license will be valid without her name on them. The governor, the attorney general, and county attorney all say the license will stand absent her name.
Fox's Mike Tobin outside Davis's office in Moorhead. They're living a wildfire nightmare in Northern California.
We smelled the smoke and we went outside and our neighbors were in a panic. They told us to leave.
Fleeing flames that move fast, torching neighborhoods.
Block after block is just charred wreckage of burned out homes. There is just nothing left.
Fox's Claudia Cowan in Middletown.
The Valley Fire now 50,000 acres big with zero containment, and fire officials say that one person has died. As many as 10,000 people are evacuated, many of them getting food and assistance at the Napa County Fairgrounds.
Another fire south of Sacramento burned down 81 homes.
All right, mic check, mic check. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Spontaneity is having sex on the pavement of a Denny's parking lot.
Hey. Okay, we're back at 5 a.m. 560. The answer. Just kidding. That's a grand slam. I could say that's a grand slam. All right, I'm going to change that up.
All right, we can do it again.
All right, let's do it again. Cut. Take two. Let me delete that just in case. I'm like, well, what the fuck? Hey. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Spontaneity is having sex on the pavement of a Denny's parking lot.
Wow, that's a grand slam. We're back at 5 a.m. 560. The answer.
All right.
Did you watch the Bears game yesterday a little bit? The coach for Green Bay, it looked like he had a Denny's menu on him.
McCarthy?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got his,
it was a laminated playbook, but it looked like a restaurant menu.
You ever see Peyton Manning's wrist?
Oh, yeah. That. Ten Commandments on there, too. Make sure it's on. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Spontaneity is having sex on the